Hello everyone, this is Anushka Jha, your host for today, and I welcome you all to Gully's GameX Summit and Awards 2023. Our theme for this year's GameX is Gaming Renaissance, the next era of gaming. It embodies the spirit of transformation. Hello everyone, this is Anushka Jha, your host for today, and I welcome you all to a growth partner from GameX Summit and Awards is Mob Avenue, gaming partner. Our theme for this year's GameX is Gaming Renaissance, AIG, the next era of gaming. Before proceeding, I request our team to kindly please play these sponsor videos. Thank you, team. From captivating keynotes by industry leaders to engaging panel discussions, GameX 2023 promises to be an immersive experience like no other. So without further ado, I would like to call upon stage Ms. Vijaya Ghosh, founder and CEO of AdMin.
Good afternoon, friends. A very warm welcome to the third edition of GameX 2023, AdGully's premier platform for the gaming industry. Coming on the back of impressive growth numbers, GameX 2023 has much grounds to cover and also decode the future roadmap for this industry. Today, India is the largest mobile gaming market in terms of app downloads. Numerous industry studies reveal the growing potential of the gaming industry in India. As per Statista, the gaming market in India, which stood at 0.8 billion in 2019, grew to reach $2.6 billion in 2022. At a CAGR of 27%, industry reports suggest that this market is likely to be worth over $8 billion by financial year 2027. Invest India reveals the revenue from online gaming grew 39% in 2022 to $1.6 billion. There are 421 million online gamers as per 2022 report in India, and the number is expected to reach 442 million by 2023. India has the largest fantasy sports market with a user base of 180 million. However, amid the growth projections, there are certain pain points and the regulatory issues that are posing to be challenges for this industry, including the 28% GST. GameX 2023 has an illustrious lineup of speakers, each a luminary in the field of gaming. To decipher the growth trajectory, highlight the most pertinent issues, shed light on some challenges and ways to overcome them, and of course, chart the future course for this industry. Though in its third year, GameX has become a definitive voice for the gaming industry and in laying the groundwork for the times ahead. Friends, it gives me great pleasure to inform you that in the course of this year's event, a white paper on in-game advertising and monetization will be unveiled. The white paper is a joint endeavor of Dentsu Gaming and Loco. AdGully has partnered with Dentsu Gaming and Loco for this white paper. Without further ado, I now leave the virtual stage to hand over the day's proceedings to the masters of the game. But before I go, I would like to announce that as the previous two editions, GameX 2023 will culminate with the GameX Awards. I would like to congratulate the winners this year who have enriched this industry with their path-breaking work. Once again, friends, a warm welcome to GameX Summit and Awards. Over to you, Anushka, for the day's proceedings.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That has given us an official boost to finally begin with the GameX Summit and Award 2023. With this, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage the visionary leader and CEO of All India Gaming Federation, Mr. Roland Landos. Over to you, sir.
Morning, everyone. I'm privileged to be among peers from the online gaming industry at GameX 2023. GameX 23 once again has brought together stakeholders across the gaming ecosystem, which comprises of game developers, publishers, gamers, marketers, investors, and tech service providers, which is pretty much the representation that we at the AIGF also are extremely interested in, and also have forums for. We have game developers and likewise gaming operators, obviously, as well as the interests of the gamers. So it's a good coincidence between AIGF and GameX. We are happy to join hands once again with AdGully as the industry partner for this event. Just for the benefit of the listeners, the All India Gaming Federation (AIGF) is the oldest and the largest and the most diverse apex industry body that looks at the interests of the entire online gaming ecosystem and pretty much covers everything that exists within the framework of the online gaming industry. We are also pleased and I'm happy to welcome most of the luminaries who are here representing various fields within the industry. And this platform, I believe, will give a great opportunity for all these representatives to speak about and discuss strategies around growth and also what all new innovations that can come about and that are happening presently within the industry. Just to give some high-level stats of of the industry in India, needless to say, the industry is seeing unparalleled growth, especially in comparison with other sectors or segments within the online, within the media and entertainment landscape. Consistent with the last 5 years, online gaming has been one of the key performers within these segments that make up the media and entertainment industry overall. Gaming global revenues from gaming, mobile and consoles has seen a 12% CAGR between 2019 and 2023, as compared to 6% CAGR for music, 8 for films, and 2 for television. So all the indicators clearly showing the growing trend for online gaming industry as a destination, as a preferred destination for gamers to get their dose of entertainment from. India is a mobile-first gaming market and has seen a massive uptick with the ease of access being enabled by low-cost smartphones and internet connection, and an 86% share of the mobile gaming market in India. However, the Indian online mobile gaming market is a $1.5 billion sunrise sector with 38% CAGR, all set to reach $5 billion by 2025. This has been a key contributor to the Startup India movement, with over 950 gaming startups, 3 gaming unicorns, and over 15,000 game developers. Obviously, some of these figures we will have to reconcile. As everyone is aware, there's been a recent development on the GST front, and that's also can be seen as a positive because there was a overhang on of indirect taxation. Both direct and indirect taxation have now been clearly established, and so there remains no ambiguity and that's a positive development. Similarly, as far as regulation is concerned, also there's complete clarity now with the Ministry of IT Electronics setting up the self-regulatory bodies for regulating this industry. But coming back to the high level numbers, with the introduction of 5G, we feel that there's going to be a widespread uptick of esports in the emerging markets like India, where the PC penetration is low, being a price sensitive market. Gaming laptops and PCs and consoles are going to be continue to be prohibitive. Smartphones definitely is the preferred choice for as a device for gaming in India, and with 5G, this will create a smoother gaming experience for all the gamers. AR and VR experiences will come into play and become more accessible to gamers, and speed struggles with cloud gaming will cease to be a problem. So all of these clearly indicate that things are looking extremely positive for the industry, just as it has been over the last 5 years. Let's look at how India stacks up with the rest of the world. We have a long way to go, but that is also can be seen as a positive with what we can achieve in quick time. So as a market, India has only 1% of the global market share compared to 23 and 25% belonging to US and China respectively. There are hardly any Indian titles in the list of top grossing and in the top gaming apps on the popular stores, with over 400 million users and 2 to 2.5 billion in revenues. The entirety of the Indian online gaming ecosystem's revenue is only equivalent to the revenue of one leading gaming title, which is the international gaming title. So one can see the stark difference, but at the same time, the huge opportunity that exists for us as a market. Indian online gaming market definitely has the potential to be a global disruptor, and there is opportunity for India to be a market leader in the mobile gaming sector. At this particular juncture, there are several challenges present before the industry. Given the diversity of the stakeholders and the different needs that exist, AIGF has been at the forefront over the last 7 years since inception and been witness to most of these challenges. But we are hopeful that as an industry, collectively we'll be able to surmount these and together work towards creating this $5 trillion contributing towards this $5 trillion digital economy very soon. Coming to within the the gaming ecosystem, specifically on the AVGC goals, the Audiovisual Games and Comics Task Force was set up by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, the MIB, with the specific objective of promoting these four key areas within the gaming ecosystem. Reports suggest that the task force that was released in December of 2022 looks towards holistic promotion of the gaming sector with skill development and creation of financial viability, access to technology, and other incubation programs. So all of these really augur well for the overall AVGC ecosystem. Draft policies at the state level and national levels have been introduced for AVGC, XR, and AIGF has been and continues to provide inputs and works with the relevant central as well as state government authorities in this regard. As we speak, some of those states are in the process of developing their AVGC policies and are seeking inputs from, and AIGF is right at the forefront of providing those inputs to them. The efforts undertaken by the AVGC task force makes it clear that India is well supported in the path towards putting Indian gaming on the global map. We are already seeing several Indian stories being told through games such as Venba and Raji, with Raji especially being a game coming from a team of Indian developers. So in conclusion, I would say that gaming and game development will prove to be integral toward achievement of India's dream of a $5 trillion digital economy. It will be a key contributor. And as an industry, we have seen a great deal of upward trends within the industry. We remain hopeful that today's conversations will aid all our efforts towards making India a key player in the global gaming ecosystem. Thank you very much, and do enjoy, what lies ahead at GameX 2023. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your insightful thoughts. I'm thrilled to share some exciting news with you all. AdGully has partnered with Dentsu and Loco for their white paper on in-game advertising and monetization. To delve deeper into the insights of this pioneering paper, today with us we have two distinguished guests. Ms. Megha Nair, Senior Vice President of Digital Media Planning at Kara India, and Mr. Prakar Toshniwal, who is the Senior Manager of Brand Partnerships at Loco. They will be taking us through the insights of this paper. Over to you both.
As mentioned, our topic for today is in-game advertising and monetization. So ideally, we will be covering across the industry who all are the stakeholders and what kind of monetization techniques are they using right now. And then later on, we will deep dive into the specific case studies of how brands have effectively seen results of their campaigns with gaming. So now moving forward, so when we look at the global industry as a whole, we see that they did almost $350 billion worth of revenue in 2023, which is even higher than the music and movie industry combined. So Hollywood movie industry and the music industry combined. It is projected to increase till 450 to 500 billion into 2027, and which is significantly higher as compared to right now. The major impetus is being provided by mobile games and in-game advertising, as you can see. And wherein the major four growth drivers for this industry are smartphone penetration, wherein the industries which never had access to internet and smartphones are able to access it right now and then are able to play mobile games, etc. That is one. Then there are quite of innovative monetization models being introduced, wherein freemium, pay-to-play, in-game advertising, etc. are being launched. Then third and fourth are really on the similar lines, wherein because of a shift from the traditional media to gaming, we are seeing a lot of disposable income being utilized within this segment, which is also a reason why we see such a growth in this market. Now, it's not just that the global markets are seeing this, but also the Indian trends are similar. So by 2027, it's projected that almost 50% of the population would be a gaming population, wherein India would have 800 million gamers in the next 4 years, which is quite huge. In 2023, we see almost 500 million gamers in India, wherein almost 24% conversion is to the paying user, which essentially means that if the overall Indian population is, let's say, X, almost 36% of people are gaming right now, wherein 8% of them are paying users. Now we move ahead to Dentsu Gaming Services.
Yeah, I think before you play the video, I'll quickly like to talk about it. I think in the entire game space, I think post-COVID, I think as a unit within Dentsu, we understood that gaming needs to be treated very, very differently because consumers have started, spending a lot of time, and you did see that. So what really Dentsu Gaming does from a strategy perspective, it augments existing teams to act like a strategic advisors to provide subject matter expertise and navigation through complex gaming and client ecosystem. We actually break a lot of incremental value by fostering, mutual relationship between the game publishers, partners, and platforms. What we also do is from an activation perspective is that we connect a range of professional services spanning media, creative, CXM in markets and across regions to provide clients a flexible modular approach based on project needs. The other thing, as part of the Dentsu Gaming system that we do is the IP development. Through strategic investments, Dentsu Gaming actually provides means to produce, develop, and monetize intellectual property such as original games, content, and events. And we'll do a quick video to understand this in a little more detail. I think quickly getting into understanding that what we've done with this Densu gaming sphere specifically. So we clearly believe that every impactful piece of content activation experience is driven by a thorough understanding of the consumer and their behavior. So our proprietary intelligent platform CCL, which is Consumer Connected System, helps us keep the pulse on the gaming audiences and trends. Uh, at Densu, we make sure that consumer intelligence is at the heart of everything that we do. We invest in gaming specific research with a focus on building truly actionable insights. What we have done and what you see here in the slide is that we've fused the Denso CCS panel data and GWI gaming data across 21 markets. This means that brands can now access high fidelity portraits of gamers that encompass lifestyles and media attitudes and behaviors. Example, shopping routines, passion and hobbies, and everything random. So the fusion really opens an in-depth of insights directly available for strategy planning and activation. So imagine you can understand this is my consumer, you can put it in the system and then you can get your plans activated also. What we've also done through this fusion is that we've also included gaming in our activation, in our attention economy program, which is one of the largest studies that's being dedicated specifically to provide the value of attention. Moving on to the next slide, what we see is that everybody is playing. It's almost everything. What we have done with this is that we've tried creating specific cohorts. And when we go to the next slide, we understand that the three cohorts that we're trying to speak here about are the for the win, for the hype, and for the emotion. Are predominantly these are PC gamers. So these are cohorts being through the CCs and GWI combination that we have done. Hearing the name of the cohorts, you would be guessing that it could be motivation for the respective cohort to game. If yes, then you're right. We have mapped the motivation of gamers to their gaming patterns and extrapolated their age group. So an average gamers, extra spendings, their trades, and a lot of more data as to understand the digital and offline media consumption patterns and how frequency they are doing. That's the entire thought process. Moving on, to the next set where it's majorly for the mobile dominated gamers, and they are bifurcated into into cohorts, namely for the party, for the downtime, and for the revive. So here the main objective is to relax and unwind, socialize through gaming, and tackle boredom. Their interest towards gaming is less prevalent and revolves more around having fun, connecting with the family and friends, and easy escape from the routine. Also, their frequency is not much regular versus the other set of cohorts that we introduced. Now, what we've done is just for the white paper specifically, we've gone ahead and spoken about one of the segments, which is getting on to the next one is the win segment. Just to give you an example, for the win segment, typically it's the gaming influencer it's broadly a culture. In the gaming, as in other areas of life, gamers in this age group are more often into the cutting edge of culture, knowing the latest trends before many of their friends, and are more likely to be owning the new technology like a VR handset. Another segment that we took in focus specifically is the hype segment, which talks about how the entire, the fandom that is there with gaming is this with the segment. Gamers in this segments not only play, but also love to share their enthusiasm with others via, online forums, social media, messaging, and blogs. They love to discuss their game choices with the other gamer friends. Playing online, but accommodating with family, with offline gamers. So a lot of console gaming really falls into this space. And for them, it's just not part of the culture, but also it's not just a part of relaxation, but also a part of their culture that they look at. Moving on to the next slide.
Yeah, so we have seen that the market is huge. We have seen that the market is going in the right direction. But are people really spending time or not, right? Because if they are not spending time on mobile games or other kind of games, then the size of the market might be huge, but then it does not really create an opportunity to monetize. Now, when we look at time spent on mobile games within India, we see that there is almost 35% of casual gamers, 50% of mid-core gamers, and 45% of hardcore gamers who spend more than 2 hours playing these games within 1 week, which is pretty high. And when you see the stats here for casual and mid-core games, games like Royal Match, Candy Crush, etc., all have higher 30 minutes and more time per day per user, which is pretty high for a game, right? And then mid-core games, we have Free Fire and BGMI, which are upward of 80 minutes. Now, we see that the time spent is pretty high. And similarly, when you look at the right side, we almost get almost 1,600 rupees per paying user. And in a market like India, which is significantly growing right now, and it's sort of in the developing stage, it's pretty high. We want to aspire to reach to the levels that US or maybe Europe has, but then this is a very good start for us to monetize. Now moving ahead, so we Loco in collaboration with EY conducted a survey with almost 15,000 respondents back in May 2023. And I will quickly share some of the results with you here, which are quite astonishing. So now when we noticed in the last slide, we understood that the people are spending time on gaming activities, but the time we see is constantly increasing as well. When we looked at when do these guys play their games, we understood that there is no set time wherein they play the games. Almost 33% of the people mentioned that they play it anytime during the day, whenever they get free, etc. Now, almost 1/3 of the respondents again played daily, which is pretty good for this industry. And almost 44% played at least 3 times in a week, which is also pretty high. Now, we understand that the time spent by these users is increasing, and these users also understand and are comfortable with subscriptions. They are also they also understand what kind of content is there within the games, and they are ready to pay for the content as well. So when we understood this segment, we understood that almost 50% of the respondents were willing to pay for in-app purchases, and almost 2/3 of the respondents were either willing to spend or already had a subscription prior to this. Now, we understood that people are also comfortable with spending and are comfortable with the notion of subscriptions and in-app purchases. And there was quite one notion which almost everybody, including me, had, that during COVID, we saw a peak in the consumer usage. But would that usage hold after COVID is, let's say, normalized? But to our surprise, it did hold, and the results were astonishing here, wherein we saw that almost 50% of the people said that their time spent on the gameplays increased in 2022 as compared to 2021, which was a very positive sign for the industry. And 35% of the respondents mentioned that they almost watch live streams daily, which have now resulted in creation of a new category altogether in India, which is live streaming platforms, wherein gamers are now hanging out, they are chilling, they are socially interacting with their friends. Now, to look at the whole industry overall, we understand that we can divide it into 4 different parts. Developer publishers being one, who majorly build the game and then they market the game so that the user adoption is as high as possible. Then there are event organizers, which execute the on-ground tournaments, they conduct the on-ground events so that more and more people are aware about this game and create an ecosystem around it. Then there are esports organizations that sponsor their players, they sponsor their teams to play these tournaments. And then there are streaming platforms like Loco, which make sure that these tournaments, these events are distributed to as many people as possible across the globe, right? Now, when we look at the different monetization possibilities or opportunities for an advertiser across these 4 platforms or 4 stakeholders, these are quite different. So when you look at a developer and publisher, you see that there are in-game advertising, there are in-game purchases, etc. available. While event organizers and esport organizations, they will provide you opportunities with broadcasting deals, they will provide you sponsorships, they will provide you merchandising, etc. And with streaming platforms, it's completely different, wherein they will provide you in-app advertising on their platform. They will also provide you value-added services, etc. Now, historically, when any advertiser wants to target gamers, the first thought is targeting via the games, because that is where they are spending their time and playing the games, right? But historically, we have understood that it gets very difficult for brands to advertise, given there are no targeting mechanisms within a game which are standard. So you can integrate in-app at some particular moments, but then you don't really target a particular user that you want to according to your target group. And most popular games don't even offer the standard ad formats like banner rewarded ads, because these are premium to play or pay to play models, right? And they don't want to hinder the user experience with advertisements. Now, while we notice that this is a possibility, but there are quite many hindrances here. For a brand to integrate within a particular game, the lead time is very slow, lead time is very high, then ease of integration is very difficult because you have to then get into the technical aspects of it. And the ad formats are very limited. Whereas targeting via a platform like ours, wherein all the gamers are already present and watching the content daily, we see that the ad formats are standard, then there are straightforward integration mechanisms. Now, gaming is no longer a solitary sport, and it has now become a spectator sport for platforms like Loco, making it much easier for brands to reach these spectators. Now, we will quickly discuss few innovative case studies of brand integrations which different brands have done across ad formats and different stakeholders. Now, on the first slide, I will be talking about in-app integrations with these games wherein brands have integrated within the game itself. So when you look at a McLaren and a BGMI partnership, McLaren sponsored and made skins available of their cars within the game, and it was quite popular amongst the youngsters who was their target audience. Then when you see the screenshot here, KFC did a whole level of integration here wherein they made the building interior such that when you enter that building, it will look like you have entered a KFC store. And with NBA 2K3, Nike sponsored their sneakers, wherein whosoever is playing that NBA 2K game, you will see sneakers by Nike, and they launched their upcoming collection there so that people are more aware about their games. Now, coming to the next part of three case studies, when you look at Louis Vuitton, they sponsored the whole case of the trophy of League of Legends game, wherein the case was with LV flair, and then the high-tech elements were inspired by the League of Legends gameplay. Coca-Cola, on the other front, when they were launching their Bite limited edition flavor in US, what they did is instead of going all out on ground, they promoted their drink within Fortnite, and that is where the gamers were quite attracted to this drink. Gucci, on the other hand, did a partnership with Roblox, wherein they had a whole store within the game, wherein people can enter that store, they can understand what kind of clothes do they have, they can try those clothes, and even buy those clothes. So quite a mix of different advertising across the formats, right? Now I will slightly come to esports organizations and the event organizers here. So recently, this is an Indian case study wherein Gillette partnered with 8-Bit Thug, who is an Indian gamer. He hosted a talk show with other 10 gamers wherein Gillette sponsored and wanted to show how smooth the conversations were, similar to how smooth Gillette Razor was. And primarily because gaming right now, the kind of gaming audience 8-Bit Thug targets is male-driven, Gillette saw really good results there. So the total views for those campaign were 11 million and the impressions were above 50 million there. And similar to what McLaren did with BGMI, Mercedes-AMG did with Forza Horizon 5 game, wherein all the cars were sponsored by Mercedes, and Mercedes launched their upcoming collection within the game so that people could get a feel of the car and the look. Now coming to an esports organization like G2 Esports, which is a famous esports organization across the globe, they did a partnership with Ralph Lauren, wherein Ralph Lauren was the official outfitter of the G2 organization, and they also launched a special line for G2 Esports. Now these were recently concluded BGMI LAN events in India. So the first one is a partnership between Hyundai and Nordwind Gaming organized BGMI Master Series, which was held in Delhi. And Hyundai venue was recently launched and they wanted to promote their car there. So this was the launch which Hyundai did, wherein and it was also broadcasted on Loco, which almost saw 70 million views across the tournament duration, and with a peak concurrent viewership of 300K. Now, Zebronics did a partnership with Sky Esports, also an Indian tournament organizer, recently in the last month, wherein they held a booth, organized giveaways, and they also did meet and greets with the audience there. Now, on the right-hand side, you will see that most of the brands across the globe have partnered with esports, be it luxury cars, be it affordable car units, be it Pepsi, be it Red Bull, etc. So the kind of reception brands are having from the gaming community is pretty high, and hence there is high retention and there is also high acceptance of this gaming community. Now moving ahead, now across streaming platforms, these are the kind of standard ad formats that are available, and similar ad formats are also available on Loco, wherein brands have tied up with us to advertise to these to their customers, target customers. So in-stream video ads, homepage banner ads, clips and reels formats, complete brand takeovers, and offer wall. What we have gone and done is we have went above and beyond to create a proprietary ad network, Live Spot, wherein you don't need to make sure that the streamer is on Loco or YouTube or Twitch. But what you can do is you can directly tie up with us and the streamer, and then we will make sure that wherever the streamer is, your ad would be played there. And now what we have done is the ad format can be a flip logo, it can be an on-screen bug, it could be a GIF, video ad, whatever. And we have made sure that it bypasses the ad block, and it's also not interrupted to the viewing experience of the audience, which is the first thought we had while creating this product. And you can get real-time analytics here and then custom ad formats. Now, also because of our nimble nature and nimble format, we provide customized offerings to our partners, wherein we can do customized stickers, we can do productized giveaways as well. We can do fan leaderboards sponsored by a brand. We can do branded quests wherein they require to perform some activities to finally gain a product, finally gain a coupon code, etc. And we can also do multilingual push notifications to reach out to your target audiences across the platforms.
Yeah, I think while Praghat talks really about the kind of stuff that's being available, it's important to get the consumer's take also. So 77% of the gamers said that watching an ad was their preferred method to progress in a game, with 52% recalling that ad. So this definitely gives us the notification that gamers do not really get irritated with ads, but if it has to be in contextual, they definitely don't mind watching an ad instead of really going ahead and paying for it. Moving on to the next slide. These are also some ad formats that Prabhakar also spoke of, but from a gaming perspective. So there are a number of diverse formats that brands can leverage to connect natively within gaming, all of which can drive awareness and recall in a non-intrusive manner. But I think most importantly, what we want to talk about is that all of the in-game formats above drive attention, but it's actually the blended in-game formats that are the reason gamers are so positive about advertising. This is because they offer a uniquely non-disruptive and a seamless experience for gamers. The key advantage for in-game formats is that they offer, realism. Moving on to the next one. Now I think the bunch of stuff that we're going to be talking about are the set of gaming's case studies that we've held at Dentsu Gaming. The first one that I'm going to be talking about is something that we did last year. So H&M had launched its first ever local linen collection during April 2022. Sports and gaming had the highest affinity in the TG. With the IPL season on air, men's TG was concentrated mostly on the live matches. However, we analyzed the quick insights that the gaming, just through the gaming trends, that the rise of the daily active users in cricket games during IPL increased massively. So just to leverage gaming as a substitute, what we did is we partnered with Frameplay and used the in-gaming platform to efficiently reach the target audience of H&M's men's linen range with a high impact in-game placements. You can see it's being surrounded completely. Frameplay was the exclusive partner, and we were able to leverage high visibility attention and grabbing placements. And we also did see a double-digit lift in terms of the metrics that we had put. And if the same kind of exercise actually had to be done on an actual traditional media or in the IPL itself, it would be much costlier. But because we were able to do this, we were able to see a massive increase in the brand lift. Moving on to the next case study. This is quite an interesting one and very, very close to my heart is, as Taliban took over to Afghanistan and banned women from playing cricket, everyone wanted to fight against it. So a chance was given to them through world's first ever e-protest game. So we partnered with Global Esports to present, the protest match. On 3rd of April, when ICC Women's World Cup finals were taking place, for real, Afghani women cricketers got the chance to play it virtually. As a sign of protest, every player was created and designed down to the last detail and got them to play the finals that never really actually happened. When the word spread, there were gamers, esports influencers, and cricket lovers joined in support, booked their slots on the microsite, and live streamed their games. Gaming protects took to the primetime news, and then it was also something. While the game was banned, the team did get a chance to play the game. If we actually go to the next one, we can see the video also.
Afghanistan women cricket teams cannot play for Afghanistan or for international cups. There's no cricket for Afghans.
Apparently, women's cricket is un-Islamic. And wait till you hear why.
deserve to be smacked to the boundary.
Hello and welcome to the biggest contest in cricket.
It's about a match that could have happened because Afghanistan team could not play in the finals, right?
Global esport and teams hard working to camping games. It's a cricket game.
I have the hopes. I know the Taliban even do not allow now girls to go to school. So how they allowed other girls to do any sport?
The virtual that games is a protest of reminder that Afghanistan's women team exists.
Moving on to the next and the last case study that we're going to be talking about. So this is about the Pizza Hut cheat codes that we did. So last year during 2022 FIFA World Cup in December, Pizza Hut Malaysia actually faced off competition for the annual Cheesy Poppers pizza promo. So most of the traditional media spaces were saturated with promotional content and advertisements from a lot of competition brands, creating a intense battle for maximum share of voices and sales. What we did from a insight and strategy perspective is that we changed the playing field and took the game to a new audience. A month before the 2022 World Cup, we spotted a rapid increase, in the mobile football game downloads. This pointed us to a new captive community of about 1.2 million active gamers who are very passionate about football as they're about gaming and snacking. So we reached out to these gamers by identifying a unique behavioral pattern. They love to recreate the score lines of live matches on virtual playing fields. So this gave us the perfect opportunity to stay relevant with these audiences and seamlessly integrate the brand into the footballing conversation. So now what we actually did, we entered a cheese codes, a non-destructive hack that increased gamer anticipation and in turn, boosted the Cheesy Poppers pizza order. We created, multiple codes by combining pizza toppings with the player name. So Mbappe France would be Mbenio Ranio, Cristiano Ronaldo would be Crispanio, and similarly many more others. And from an execution exact perspective is that we dropped a relevant code on in-game as a dynamic on boards wherever a goal was scored by the same player on live TV. So gamers actually could order special pizza combos with just a tap on the interactive board without disrupting their gameplay. By partnering up with the popular gaming football games like FIFA, Football Manager, Top 11, Football Cup, and many others, the audience in real time on the match days, which actually helped dial up the entire gaming conversations. And this was really taken back to Twitter also. Quickly actually showing you how the execution happened from the next slide.
At last! And a nation will tango all night long!
December is Pizza Hut's annual Cheesy Poppers pizza season. The only problem? It's also the World Cup. When traditional media spaces become battlegrounds for QSR brands, how can Pizza Hut gain a slice of the voice? We found an audience who are just as crazy about football. 1.2 million mobile football gamers who love to recreate what they saw on live TV. So we played the game they played. Pizza Hut Cheese Codes. A gamified real-time ordering experience in mobile football games. Whenever a goal is scored live, we dropped a unique cheese code in-game on our dynamic A-boards. Inviting gamers to tap on the board and redeem the code for pizza combos in real time. And we didn't stop there. Twitter conversations were at its highest during the World Cup, so we released more cheese codes to coincide with every goal scored, sparking banter and conversation. We broke through the media madness and made the winning play.
Yeah. I think quickly, we'll take you through a few of the, I think some things that we realized over the last 30 minutes, that gamers actually do not dislike ads. They just don't like intrusion. So a blended game ad formats works really, really well. And when you make it as part of the game itself, it just becomes natural for them. We did see that if the messaging are being customized and personal to the player, it doesn't even come into your brand safety parameters, because a lot of advertisers do get questioned, how are these gamers and content creators going to take about the brand safety perspective. Then also, I think a huge opportunity that we are definitely seeing from a stat perspective, in fact, is that brands really right now cannot ignore the opportunity to reach out women through gaming, because there's a massive number increasing. And it's interesting to see from a casual gamer perspective and from a PC gamer perspective, you do see both the women really coming together and having an active participation. So it cannot be said that it's all a men's space. So yeah, that's pretty much from a few of the takeaways. Prabhakar, if you have any thoughts on that.
No, so I think, like you mentioned, people, or so let's say different stakeholders, should not ignore some sections of the community right now, because almost all the smaller parts of the community are also increasing. So be it women, be it men, be it so sort of older women are playing a lot of casual games as well. So almost all the segments are increasing in numbers, and the kind of opportunities brands right now have, or even the publishers or the platforms like ourselves have to monetize, is quite high. So I think onus is on us to make sure that we monetize the segments and the opportunities properly, so that we grow the industry altogether. So that would be it from my end.
Yep. I think we are done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. Moving on with our next keynote on the future of gaming, exploring emerging technologies, trends, innovations, shaping the gaming industry. Delivering by Mr. Shubh Mittal, Director of EMI. Over to you, sir.
Hi, everyone. I'm thanking Adgily for giving me this opportunity to talk about on gaming industry. This has been a prestigious event. I'm going to talk about the state of gaming industry today. The key idea is to talk about what are some of the key trends, how we see India as the forefront of gaming industry, and what are some of the areas where we can kind of excel towards. What are some of the gap avenues from a gaming standpoint? how some of the companies in India can focus about that, and also from a monetization and revenue standpoint, how are some of the key important things. Firstly, to talk about India on a global map, we have a pretty. India is the largest gaming destination, one of the largest gaming destinations globally in terms of consumption. We boast second highest number of gamers globally. And the important aspect is there's a lot of young audience from India. So if you look at from a consumption standpoint, 69% of the audience in India is 34 years and less. Whether if I compare the same number with likes of US, only 54% of their population is less than 34 years of age. Uh, we see a higher gamers in India, and India is still at low penetration, and we have an abundant room for further growth. In US, currently the gaming market has penetrated 63%, whereas of the population, whereas India is just 31% of the population which is penetrated in terms of gaming. India continues to be a mobile gaming market. 94% of the consumption happens in mobile, vis-a-vis the US, where it's also a PC and a console heavy market. We have seen a uh, rise in Indian gamers. Their appetite towards paying, so ARPUs have been rising around. Last year, average Indian gaming ARPU was around 7.2 USD, which we anticipate to go up to like 9.5 USD by 2025. Again, just to reiterate back on the key stats, we have 100 plus million paying users in 2022, expected to grow 2x by 2025. 15 plus million is the highest share of mobile game downloads globally. That's where India stands, and 11% of the total time spent on smartphones is attributed to gaming and stuff. So that's where is the current state of gaming in India. From here, talking about some of the key recent technological and structural evolutions and some of the strong investor interest which is catalyzing this industry. So some of the key trends what we have seen is 5G, which would transform the entire gaming industry, reduce latency speed, reduce latency significantly. There's a growth in ARPU. There is also there's a quite you see PC and console gamers are also on rise in India. There is a growth in in-app purchases. From a game preference perspective, I think IP-based games have certainly hit India market. On an average, 80 minutes per day is what an IP-based game is being kind of looked at. There is also a strong inclination towards India-based content inspired by Indian culture and integrating vernacular capabilities, like Raji and all. So I think that's another important area to kind of look at. From other aspects, certainly esports is gaining popularity. We expect to have at least 50 esports tournament by 2025. There is strong investor interest as well. Lot of recent funding deals which has come up through Radio, Fanwave, Rooster, Loco, Fanclash, Games24. So a lot of those deals which has happened in 2022, which kinds of set a strong base for India as a gaming destination. Talking about various opportunities in the gaming ecosystem in India, I'm gonna basically touch base upon three key gaming opportunities in India today. The first one being about how there's a rise of mid-core and hardcore gamers in India. So what we see is India has seen a rise in consumption of mid-core and hardcore games. If you see, 45% of the gamers spend over an hour per game session, indicating quite a growing appetite. 67% of those gamers are willing to pay. There is a 3x higher spend on IPs as compared to casual. BMGI and Free Fire generated 3 to 4x revenue engagement. Right? If I talk about 50 top grossing titles in 2022, mid and hardcore has 48% share. So that's an important area to look at. So 48% of the games are in the mid-core and hardcore category. Indian developers have historically focused on more casual games. There have been a lot more casual game studios in India, Moonfrog to Competitive, HashCube to so and so forth. But a lot of those are exploring high quality storytelling with Indian IPs. For an example, Raji, an ancient epic action game developed by Nottingham Games, 100K plus downloads, 30 plus accolades. Kurukshetra was another one, strategy based game on Mahabharata. Again, it was an IDGC Game of the Year award. On similar lines, there are a lot more hyper-local games like Mumbai Gullies and Mayanagiri are being developed. So I think what we see as a trend is rise of mid-core and hardcore gamers in India is certainly rising, and potential opportunity is game developers can capitalize on this opportunity by developing a lot more mid and hardcore games and exploring Indian IP play. That's one opportunity to kind of talk about. Looking at another gap, so before even moving forward, I'll also like to talk about several factors that has bolstered India's game creation ecosystem. So one, India has a very rich catalog of movie IPs and characters. So that is something which is going to have game distribution as an advantage. 5G will facilitate cloud gaming. There's a good trust from an AVGC side. There's an emergence of new age gaming companies who have kind of have interest in IP, India-based IP gaming. And certainly there's a gamer community. So you see a lot of creator community engaged experience, fostering loyalty engagement. So all of this is going to help rise of mid-core hardcore gamers in India. And from an opportunity standpoint, developers focusing on India IP-based hardcore mid-core gaming is an opportunity. Now, looking from a game publishing standpoint in India, what we see as a gap is there needs to be a robust network of Indian game publishers so that local developers can be empowered with effective game distribution. And hence, there is a huge, tremendous opportunity of how India could be transformed into a profit center from the cost center. Right? If we look at top 10 grossing games in India, 2022, you can let all of the publishers, barring one which is Octro, which is Team Pati. Pretty much all 9 of them are not based out of India as a game publisher. So the first one, which is Free Fire Max, Garena International, we have BMGI from Clapton. Then we have Supercell, Clash of Clans, we have Moon Active, we have King, Candy Crush, Activision, Call of Duty, we have Royal Match, FIFA, through Electronic Arts, etc. But in terms of the revenue, all of them the maximum revenue which has been generated is around $90 million to a minimum of $4 million. But what we see is out of those all 10 grossing games in India, only one was basically enabled to an Indian publisher. Hence, the current positioning what India is having is a back-end factory for global game studios and publishers. There's limited local publisher of scale currently in India, and hence it is a potential revenue loss as well, uh, because a significant game revenue flowing to global publisher. So there is a huge ecosystem gap from a game publishing standpoint, and and here is where I see another potential opportunity to become a Indian gaming publisher uh, from this ecosystem standpoint. Third opportunity, which I would like to talk about, is how does a lot of monetization strategies evolving around, which could be explored through by various gaming companies, how they can basically embrace evolving strategies, include a lot of brand integration, create cinematic fusions and ad tech collaboration that could help them do an enhanced revenue generation. So, couple of areas to kind of look at, like brand integration. Uh, it seems a lot of traction in India, awareness among brand managers and creative solutions. Players can drive I mean, some of the use cases I'm talking about, natural integration, right? Players can drive a McLaren sports car while playing the PUBG. Animals crossing features, Planet and Island, gamers discovered brand clothes. So some of the natural integration uh, could be one way of monetizing it. Then there could be a cinematic fusion or a crossover. Uh, Probably a Tiffy protagonist of Candy Crush and friend embarks on a road trip with Barbie and collect limited edition candies. So creating this sort of a crossover would also enhance brand and kind of deliver monetization. For an example, players had to fight Godzilla and Kong in the game and had an opportunity to gather limited edition collectibles. Uh, that could be integrated to a PUBG. So basically, these trends give enhanced monetization potential. Similarly, collaboration with ad tech firms. I mean, we've heard of Najara acquiring in Dataworks and tech firm. Again, the whole ad monetization yields bring in strong gaming and tech offerings globally. Right, ABN King has partnered with Tyro exclusively for ad monetization. So this is another monetization avenue. You can look at a lot more contextual advertising, look at a lot more native integration, which could drive monetization strategies and drive an additional revenue uh, for gaming companies in India. So overall, I mean, I would like to sum it up by saying that India has a huge potential. It's a growing country, young digital country, a lot of penetration from 5G standpoint. We could see gaming rising up globally, a lot of ARPU getting expanded up, rising in-app purchases. From an opportunity standpoint, I see mid-core and hardcore gamers rising up in India. There could be a lot more potential for Indian IP-based players. Companies adopting a publishing route in India, becoming a publisher in India could be a beneficial route, and then focusing on evolving around the monetization strategy, the innovative ways to basically collaborate with gaming companies as another way to kind of increase potential revenue. That's all. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, sir, for your insights. Moving ahead with the first panel on esports, opportunities and challenges, discussing the growth of esports, its impact on the gaming industry, and various challenges faced by the esports companies and players. For this panel, we have Anirudh Nagpal, who is the managing director and co-founder of Ebullient Gaming India, Nitin Goyal, who is the country manager of GameLaw, Piyush Kumar, who is the founder and CEO of Crowd Control Esports. This session would be moderated by Saurabh Bhatia, Category Lead Gaming, Expand My Business.
Hello everyone. So we have Anirudh Nagpal with us, MD and co-founder of Evelyn Gaming India. So the first question to you from this panel discussion from my end is that how has Evelyn Gaming India have driven technological advancements within the gaming industry with respect to hardware, software, and streaming industry.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Right, I think it's a really cool thing that you guys have basically pulled up. And back to your question, primarily right now, I think that technology is transforming the world in ways that it is making the world a whole lot of better place. Also, cities are getting smarter and smarter now. When we talk about clouds, they're more talked about than the weather right now. And gaming, of course, is at God's speed. All these things have been possible because right now we are living in an era of crazy innovations in technologies in which gaming is one of the forefront things which is coming up. And it will be one of the basic outlines of the future. Evelyn Gaming India is at the forefront of this evolution in gaming and its capability to serve 90% of the gaming Indian audience right now. From biggest gaming tournaments to top esport organizations to gaming content creators to publishers, we are a company behind these companies that impact gaming in India.
All right, that's fantastic, Anirudh. I see there's a lot of advancement happening with respect to technology, and we understand that gaming is the leading forefront of it. Yeah. So my next question is to you, Nitin. Yeah. So how do you feel that esports influence over game developers, okay, to create titles within competitive features and balanced gameplay?
Great. So thank you very much for inviting today for this panel on esports. I would say I have been like a huge proponent of the esports for a longish period of time from the Indian market perspective, more around the mobile gaming as a sphere. And we did one particular event like way back in like 2018, and we on our side, although are not pretty much as a structured esports player out there in the space. However, there have been like some great learnings for us to that particular event that we had done. Coming specifically to this discussion of yours, like what I would say, there have been like certain companies who have been like focusing significantly with respect to developing their titles, which are esports fast. However, I would say, like, so I would be kind in admitting, right, so GameLoft as an organization hasn't yet dished out any particular title which is esports first, right? So for us, like the biggest IP is Asphalt, and unfortunately, it's not the esports first, right? So all the rights that we have been like insisting internally with our game development teams in terms of actually adding features to make it more esports friendly as a title. However, the fact remains, as an esports industry, looking from the prism of GameLoft, is still relatively smaller industry, and monetization as a space, something which is not yet fully evolved in this space. So for us, like, so when we are actually figuring out, right, so the kind of projects that we undertake, somehow, right, so somehow this doesn't fall within the ambit on our side. But I strongly believe the fact is what really brings as an important aspect out of the esports is the competitive element and the community element which comes to the fore, which actually helps game definitely in terms of driving more engagement, more downloads, and in turn higher revenue realization. Although it's not so direct revenue realization which happens, but yeah, indirect revenue growth is potentially seen. All I can say is yes, this is a space which is evolving, and I strongly believe, I said, the kind of growth which has happened across in the Southeast Asia and the Indian markets over the last few years, and we should see it's significant progress happening across esports. We should actually make game publishers put more focus on their side in terms of driving more of esports plus titles on their side.
It's very well put, Nitin. I truly believe that gaming has been totally different now within India, and because I've been interacting with a lot of teenagers and kids, Gen Z basically, who are pretty much into gaming, and especially they are considering it as a career now, and they can show that they are willing to prove that that they can actually make money out of it, they can capitalize it, and that's how the trend is and the shift is, and people are, especially generation are below, they are pretty much involved and they are into it. That's very well said. Yep. So my next question is to Piyush. He's the founder and CEO of Crowd Control Esports. So Piyush, for you, I just want to know that what are the different ways that esports can be used to promote education and social change?
Right. Thank you so much for that question, Saurabh, and thank you for the opportunity to be, represent at this panel. I think there are many ways in which esports and gaming can be used to drive social change, and education. And I say that from personal experience because I've been a gamer since 1997. And I'm talking about a PC gamer, a competitive esports gamer. My first title was Quake 3 Arena. From there, I have lived the journey of playing different titles. I played competitive Counter-Strike, played competitive Dota, and a host of Game Loft titles as well, mind you, Nathan. But I think, overall, I would say in terms of the educational aspect, so there's so much to learn, right? I've learned terms of vocabulary. So I've learned agility, terms like agility from Dota. Then there's so when you talk about the game mechanics, the puzzle solving aspects of it, right? So if any of us have played the Prince of Persia series, right? I mean, sometimes I would get stuck on a particular level for days, and I would just be at it continuously, trying to solve that one damn puzzle. And it takes everything you've got in your brain to try and solve that puzzle. So it's not no longer just a game for you. It's a puzzle you're trying to solve. It's a complex equation, if you will, which you're trying to figure out. And of course that evolves into the talking about the game mechanics. So when you're playing an esport, when you're playing at the competitive level, right, you have to drill down and understand the very basics of the game mechanics, in the sense that you have to know exactly, if you're playing a first person shooter, how much damage one bullet is going to do, how much is it going to do from close distance, how much is it going to do for a far distance, and how many seconds it's going to take from one place to another. There are so many calculations involved that have to be processed at milliseconds. So that is the educational aspect of it. Talking about driving social change, again, I think Anirudh and team have been at the forefront of it for sure, bringing to the forefront, fabulous stars like Karim Minati, and of course, all credit to them for that. But I think in terms of driving social change, right, we have to talk about the stigma around esports, right, and or gaming per se, that it's the waste of time. And I always see this at every panel that I go to. We've always been as a country of the mindset that padhoge likhoge banoge nawab, khiloge kudoge banoge kharab. And sadly, gaming and esports has also been clubbed into khiloge kudoge banoge kharab. And I think as an industry, as stalwarts of the industry, or we've always tried to champion the cause that esports is not just a waste of time. Esports is not just for playing. It is much more. There are so many skills involved. There's so many abilities involved. People can't fail them at times. And amongst that, I think one of the most important points is the diversity, uh, the mental health awareness that it can be used to promote. So we did that. There is so much that can be done through esports and gaming in terms of both learning, skilling, education, and driving social change.
That's perfectly said, Piyush, and I second that, because I can definitely agree to the fact that I have learned so much from playing all these games, especially if I talk about my personal favorite, FIFA. Right, I know it gives me immense knowledge about all the countries and all the flags that I can say, and even when I listen to their commentary and I can understand, it helps me to become better at it. And I can definitely relate to that, and especially the problem solving attitude that comes with it, because God knows how much time I have spent to figure it out. So completely agree. Yeah.
Yes.
So coming back to you, Anirudh, my second question to you over here is that, what advice would you give to aspiring esports players in India who want to make a career out of it?
So this is a country wherein once you start picking up a game, you become a fan of it, right? Right now we see that BGMI, Free Fire, Valorant are raged in the country in these order itself. So if you want to become a competitive player, I think that you have to be very resilient and also make yourself understand that your recognition will not happen in a day, right? For sure. And for that, you have to get back to practice every day. You have to record and publish your sessions and showcase your talent to the world. And be at it every day till the time you think that your skills are already polished, your talents has been recognized, and you can find yourself in a good team which provides and complements the kind of partners that you have there. And once you do that, I think that is the name of the game, and then you can start from there itself.
All right. And I think I would just like to extend this question to Nitin and Piyush as well, because you are coming from such a relevant experience within the industry in such a long time. What sort of suggestions will you give if anybody wants it's considering to esports as a career?
Nitin, you want to take that first, or should I?
You go ahead, Piyush.
Okay. So I think there's a lot of factors to take into consideration when you're an aspiring esports athlete, right? And I consciously use the term athlete here, not a player, not a gamer, right? Because first of all, I want to bring to the forefront the fact that to play competitive esports, right, you need as much hard work, as much dedication, as much passion as any sports star out there. You know, 8 to 12 hours of daily practice is like a default for gamers, and I would say that sometimes not even many sports stars practice as much, right? So it's definitely something that it is not easy for sure, right? And the beauty about bringing me back to your first question, right? The diversification factor, that esports has no boundaries. So whether you're big, tall, small, short, fat, thin, dark in color, white in color, or whatever color or gender, right? There is no physical boundaries that can stop you in esports, which makes the playing field level, but all the more challenging, because then everyone can now participate. You can't have a drink to boost your height and maybe run faster, just as an example, right? It's all about how fast your reflexes are, how much practice you have, how well you've understood the game mechanics, how well you've understood every miniature aspect of the game, the micros and the macros, and so much more, right? So there is immense hard work and dedication that is required. There is coordination and communication. So you've mastered your skills as an individual. But most esports titles, I would not say all, but most esports titles are team games. You can be a fabulous solo player, but if you're not a good team player, you will never get into competitive esports. And I personally know a lot of people like that, and I've seen many like that as well. They're great individual players, but when it comes to competitive esports, they may not make the cut just because they're lacking in the teamwork or the communication or coordination, right? And of course, the physical actions during the play, right? So you have almost 3,000 to 4,000 different things that are being processed. Sometimes you have to click 3,000 to 4,000 times in a single minute, because of there's actions going on, there's battles going on, whatever, and it is just so intense. So you have to have a high response rate, you have to have high reflexes. All of those aspects need to be worked upon to become a professional esports athlete. And it's not just one that can sadly get you the win or get you the spot.
Yeah, well said, Piyush. Well said. I can definitely see it requires a lot of dedication and discipline, just like any other sport. And you just prepare for that one moment, but you have to, work hard to get there. Yeah, Nitin, I would love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, so basically, as a very well put across the Piyush on the side, so just yet one more point. So I think one of the challenges which comes across with the esports is the fact that that you have like so many titles out there, and at times you see titles um, not having a longish life cycle for themselves, right? And you have to keep on adapting yourself as a player in terms of the potentially, right? So looking at the newer titles as they keep coming across. So that's one of the things where it's important for you to be pretty adaptive on your side and into 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 newer titles as they come across. And besides, like the perseverance is the key. I'd say that has to be innate into any sports player. Um, from the Indian market perspective, somehow as a mobile gaming is a space which is where you see a huge potential. Right? So basically, at the end of the day, if you were to look um, at esports or any business, right, it has to have um, a viability from the business standpoint. And I have been like of the strong view that as an industry, we have to evolve on those fronts to make it a viable business proposition. And that's something which has to come across if the mobile gaming comes to the fore when it comes across to the issue. I think the BGMI and Fortnite and Free Fire did a great job on this particular front. And so yes, coming back to the player's perspective, you have situations where the BGMI got like banned, and you had a Free Fire got banned, and then you have to actually walk to the newer titles. So that's something which I believe has to be an additional skill that the esports player needs to have on its own.
Those are the real challenges, right? So just thinking out loud over there, I just realized, even deciding on which game you want to be good at, it's something that you need to be like, you feel have to take into consideration, right? Because it's just not one game, but there are other games that you have to be good at the same time if you are planning to compete. So what are your thoughts on that, Piyush?
So thank you for asking me. I mean, I actually wanted to chip in here, and typically from a player standpoint, right? We don't usually. I mean, it's not wise to I think just focus on one. One game per se. You're always focusing on a genre, of course. The most prevalent game at the time is what the top tier people pursue. But even today, right? I mean, just to give you context, there's BGMI, Free Fire, and CODM, Call of Duty Mobile, as top games within the same genre, and each of these have their own thriving community, right? CODM not so much today in India, but again, Free Fire and BGMI is huge. Both are launching with big bangs and getting sports stars, movie stars involved, and they're definitely trying to grow. But from a player standpoint, you have to, I think, there's a very famous proverb I always use: if you judge a fish by its ability to climb the tree, then who's the fool? So everyone has to find the water, right? You don't go into a title as a player just because it's popular. No, I strongly advise against that. You have to find out what suits your style. I mean, very honestly, I'm a strategy buff through and through. I've always enjoyed strategy games. So games like Warcraft, Age of Empires, Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth, amongst many others, right? And Dota, right? Of course. So, you know, though I may be good at gaming, though I've played a lot of first-person shooters, I know personally that I'm a strategy buff. If there's any game that I have to be competitive at, it's got to be a strategy game. So therefore, Dota, right? So I think finding that within yourself, in terms of what you're pivoted towards, what you're interested in, what your mind is telling you, what your body is telling you to lean into, is most important for any and every gamer.
Yep, yep. Definitely, Piyush. Thank you for taking that question. Anirudh, just I would like to hear your thoughts as well on this, as you are also into talent management and helping who are the upcoming talent within the industry. So how do you help them that which sport to be pick, or like Piyush mentioned that you are good at one genre. right? So how do you help them when it comes to these sort of decisions?
So for us, I think it is very simple in terms of whatever is working in the current scenario should be your basis of content in terms of gaming. For example, if BGMI is flourishing right now, I would suggest any other player to start from BGMI, because you see right now that a transition can be pretty much easy when it comes to when the game was banned, people shifted to Valorant. You have to be always bigger than the game in terms of creating the content when you are pushing the content in a manner wherein you are a content creator first and then a gamer as well. You have to start as a gamer, put out your skills first, then also be proactively involved in creating content with the particular game. Find right kind of pals. For example, today us four are sitting together. We have synergies in different kind of segments, right? I may be good at gaming, the other people might be good at entertaining, and the other two would be probably good at locating the best kind of enemies and can be together termed in as a team which people would love to watch in a single screen. So you have to manage that content and also be good at game. That's first. Pick up the game which is uh, right now in the forefront, and hope that the game doesn't get banned for sure. And then if it does also maybe, then your content creation skills should be enough to uplift any other game which comes your way.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for answering that question, Anirudh. So my next question is to you, Nitin. Just wanted to know a bit more on, we understand that esports, there's a lot of competitions that are revolved around it. But what are the other, like these competitions help to boost the popularity of these games, leading to increased game sales? What are your thoughts on that? Any game that has been there within these competitions, do you think how do they help them to increase the sale of these games?
No, absolutely. So, as I made in the opening remark, statement about, so the positive rub off, I said the esports actually has on the engagement for a game title, right? And it's significant as we have seen in some of the esports events that we have organized on our site. Although, right, so the way we organize esports is very different from how the esports happens today. We are still more like publisher-driven esports activations that we do with the sponsored clients, and but we always reflect back at the kind of KPI performances of some of the indicators around that particular title during the phase of that particular esports activation that we do, and we have seen significant uplift with regards to downloads. As I can say, we usually see somewhere about like 50% to 80% uplift in terms of downloads during the days of the esports competition that we are organizing. And in terms of engagement, the time duration spent across the titles, so we also see about 30% uplift in the time spent on the titles. And when it comes across to the revenue perspective, we have seen an uplift of about 15% during the esports activation on our site. So yes, effectively, I'm not even talking about the advertising, because it actually leads to a significant improvement in terms of the impressions being generated on our site. But yes, effectively, I see significant upthrust when it comes across to those tactical events that we conduct across on our titles. So it's all about how we can have more sustained activations, which can actually yield continuous stream of incremental revenue to the game, and also help with improved life cycle of the title.
All right. So just extending my question to you, Nitin. So I understand that Gameloft has a very exhaustive list of portfolio of games that they have been developing, since some time. And so how do you usually pick the games that you would want to, launch in these competitions? And also, do you think any specific genre that has been working for you till date?
See, frankly speaking, and I would restrict myself to my geography, India itself. Right? So basically, asphalt is the biggest IP for us. Like say, India is the biggest market for us when it comes across to racing as a genre, And we have been like connecting, we have been like talking to our partners out here in the ecosystem, like so the OGT, the guys on the Google and the Apple, and we always work together in terms of looking at the kind of the KPIs that we have, and we find that there is a massive loyalty towards our title, right? So although I say these are not as massive in terms of the massy appeal as title, but yeah, they have a significant loyal user base on their side. And that's one title which had worked wonders for us like all through these years, and we have been like constantly working across in terms of launching certain activations across that particular title. But yes, for us, esports as an activation, as I would say, is more about as a sales initiative, wherein we always look for the sponsors first before we actually activate an esports event inside our title. So that's the approach that we have been taking. Although I know for the fact, as I was mentioning, I said there is a significant upturn that we see with respect to our other indirect KPIs with any event that we organize on the side.
All right, Nitin. I think that answers my question. I think the money should come first, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not reality.
Exactly. So, Piyush, my next question to is you. So, I just wanted to know a little bit more about the modern esports that you have seen evolving, and also the challenges of monetizing this beyond sponsorships and prize money. You're not audible, Piyush. Your mic is on.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So thank you for that question once again, Saurabh. And I think the challenges, to be honest, are many. Especially for monetization. I mean, anyone who says otherwise is getting it easy or lucky, in my opinion, or they've definitely put in a lot of hard work. But typically, I think beyond just sponsorships and prize money, we have to, I think, reinvent the way we monetize, because esports is new. We have to understand we are not as the other businesses or industries, because we've been built digital up. So digital is our biggest asset, right? From a publisher standpoint, I'm sure Nitin will be able to answer better. But the way I look at it, right, publishers can monetize in-game assets like anything. I mean, you can have partnerships with the likes of, I mean, what Riot did with I think it was Gucci, or I'm not sure, where they had assets. I'm not sure, it was one of the premium brands, right? They had their logo featured within the game. Then there's many such examples where you can basically create brand partnerships to create assets in game, which for players to view, use, and experience, which I think makes a lot of sense. Then there was this partnership between Hyundai and I think LCS, where they were using the Hyundai vehicles to transport the players, and that was a very innovative way to create partnerships, right? So we have to definitely think out of the box, think new. There was I think it was Volkswagen and Pokemon company in Germany last year, where they designed an entire custom Volkswagen Beetle, I think it was, in a Pokemon theme, and it had a holograph that could project onto a wall, and very creative innovations, right? So I think the first and shortest answer to that is you have to innovate and think out of the box. When you talk about it further, I think I mean, some of the obvious ones are merchandising, streaming and content creation. Again, Anirudh and team are already doing it and doing a fabulous job of it for sure. And then of course I think the community engagement, right? That's precisely, I mean, primarily what I feel my role is, right? Especially within this given panel, right? We have a publisher, we have content creation and talent management, and then me from the community, right? So essentially, trying to leverage the power of the community, in the sense that we create these communities and we create interactions between communities and brands, because at the end of the day, it is the brands that want these communities, right? So creating the right sort of interactions between the brands and the communities has to be our goal for anyone who's in esports, and we have a lot of options. I mean, it's as easy as it is challenging, to be very honest, because we are digital first. We are spread all over the internet. We are spread on Discord, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Insta, right? So it's not easy to find us, to be very honest. And if you're trying to use traditional media or traditional means to reach gamers, good luck is what I would say, because I think very honestly we are very wary of traditional media and very wary of ads. We don't like to waste our time watching ads. We like to spend our time playing games.
Yeah,
Is the way I look at it. So if you want to show us ads in the game. Show us ads that are relevant. Show us ads that make us want to like the brand instead of that are irritating to us, right? And then I understand, a lot of people or publishers per se do these in-game monetizations where they show you ads to get certain rewards within the game. And I'm sure that's a great model. It's been working for a great while now, and a lot of people are doing it, especially in India. I know I have spoken to a lot of publishers who do really like that model. But I think, honestly, you have to think beyond that. So yes, I'll stop here. There's a lot more that I could say, but I think this hopefully answers or addresses the points that you made. The question.
Definitely, Piyush. Just adding one more example to it, what Nike did with Free Fire, right? They had an whole thing dedicated a personal space of Nike. So I think
Correct.
innovation is definitely the way forward, and especially when
I
we
can add
talk.
one more example from our side, which had been more recent to us.
I'm sorry I missed that, Nitin.
Sure, please.
And it was interesting one. So we actually had this partnership with the TVS. We integrate the TVS Apache inside Asphalt 8. Asphalt 8 is one which also has like the bike racing. Otherwise, we are all car racing. So in that we actually integrated. That was the first Indian bike to be integrated inside the Asphalt, and it was like a worldwide activation. And it's a big thing from the TVS perspective, right? To be there,
for sure,
present across some of the very marquee bikes along. And we also did an esports activation around it, right? So now basically that bike is available inside the game for the people to play there and have their game experience with this particular bike. But at the same time, at that time of the launch, we also did an esports activation. And it showed some really remarkable results from the brand perspective, right? So that's more like but that's something which is more of a strategic initiative being undertaken by TVS on their side, and I appreciate them for having that kind of vision. But yes, at the same time, what we also identify, like so not many brands out there in the market are still very much clear about the potential that really lies for them if they were to actually engage effectively across the games in some form or manner.
Right, and sorry, I just want to correct myself. It was not Gucci; it was Louis Vuitton that did the partnership with Riot for League of Legends. Yes.
All right. So I think brands can definitely take a note from this conversation that it's just one leap of step that needs to be taken, and I feel it just takes one sort of creativity, one brand to take that initiative. Like we've already discussed a couple of examples, and once they get to see how big the potential lies within the enabling the gaming ecosystem with their brand partnership, I feel they will understand the value of it, and we can definitely see more, creative elements coming into the picture. Where you, like Piyush, you suggested that thinking out of the box and not just annoying you with the ads, but also making sure they're actually contributing or helping you to identify what you're exactly looking for. Right. So I definitely see there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and it's just one step at a time. We have come this far when we talk about especially enabling the gaming ecosystem in India, whether it may be mobile gaming or e-console gaming. But there's a huge crowd that is associated to it now, and I definitely feel that we are only moving forward with whatever the approach may be. Right. So that's all from my end, Nitin, Piyush. I really enjoyed the conversation over here. Thanks a lot for taking out the time and joining the session. It was really a pleasure today to having a discussion with you, and even Anirudh as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Saurabh. I think we all really enjoyed the conversation, and this was my first chat with the publisher, to be honest, Nitin. So yes, a good opportunity for me there. But and apologies for missing the TVS. I will definitely remember it the next time I talk about such an example. But yes, I think it was a great learning experience and great chatting with you guys. And I really look forward to more conversations like this.
Thank you very much, Saurabh. Thank you, Piyush and Anirudh, for the session today. I really enjoyed my time this month with you guys, and yeah, I hope, right. So, frankly speaking, although I represent a global company, but yeah, I'm an Indian at heart.
Oh no, totally with you.
I want to
totally with you there.
totally, and I totally want to see us succeed as a.
To be honest, Nitin, I'm looking forward to you guys, putting asphalt out there for the esports people to consume. I'm waiting for that to happen, and because I mean it is true. It's so popular. I mean, every time you get a good high-end phone, I mean, you either have asphalt installed by default, or you look for it and download. That's the first thing I did for most of my, I have a OnePlus 8, I had a OnePlus 6 before this, and the first thing I did was, okay, what's the most high-end, device testing game that I can think of? Okay, Asphalt, go for it. And I, that's the first game I grind on any of my new phones. So for sure, that relatability is there, and I'm very, looking forward to seeing you guys put it out there as an esport very soon.
Sure. Thank you. Right. So I will circle back with you guys.
Absolutely.
On our side.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for organizing this.
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, Nia. Bye-bye. Good day.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for an interesting and insightful session. Moving ahead with another keynote on esports ecosystem, its opportunities and challenges. The keynote will be delivered by Ms. Kim Melzer, who is the Chief Gaming Officer at Mobile Global Esports. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Kim Meltzer, and I am the Chief Gaming Officer for Mobile Global Esports, as well as the CEO of Destination Esports. I have 13 years in the video game and esports industry, and I'm privileged to be called the esports mom. I've had the privilege to raise over 1,000 pro players over 8 gaming titles, and I've also had the opportunity to work with brands and developers, publishers, and gamers around the world. I'm truly honored to be here today and to have an opportunity to share my story, as well as to really put together the thoughts on what it is for the esports ecosystem with opportunities and challenges that I've faced within those last 13 years. Part of the opportunity that I've had is that I started 30 years ago, believe it or not, in the hotel and hospitality industry, where I worked over 500 events in the corporate association, travel, pharmaceutical, entertainment, etc. And I've been privileged to have many, many clients along the way. 13 years ago, I had the privilege to put together the Call of Duty Black Ops 1 confidential press junket for their top 50 press at that time in December of 2010. What I found in the video game and esports industry is that video games have been captured for a long time by fans around the world, even since I was a child back in the 70s, which I don't even want to tell you my age, but you can tell that I'm definitely not in my 20s any longer. Playing Atari, playing some of the most fun games that we had back in those days, and now looking at some of the most well-developed and looking now at AI for what it is in the gaming industry and creating games that are so lifelike that it's almost mind-blowing that it isn't literally real but virtual. I wanted to share kind of some things that are important to really understand what it is to be in the video game and esports industry. Having started with Call of Duty, which you can see in my background, that was my first gaming experience in creating the travel hospitality, the VIP, and the player experience, working with an amazing team called Encompass back in the early 2010 era. And we actually activated the entire gaming experience. The first one at this press junket was that we actually flew Sikorsky's and we actually created the game in a lifelike experience. When they got off the plane, they came to a hangar and they actually saw the first opening of the game. This had never been seen nor done, and it created a three-dimensional experience that brought the actual press to the hangar. They got their Italian-made helmets with their gamer tags. They got thrown on a helicopter, and that's where I was waiting, creating the most amazing experience that was multiplayer as well as single player, that they experienced the game firsthand with the developers in a quiet, confidential setting, at that time in Ojai, but nobody knew that. And it was an experience to which woke me up to the reality that games are not one-dimensional, nor is the video game industry one-dimensional. From there, I was building out the esports ecosystem, and as you can see above me, that jersey is from the first esports experience for Call of Duty back in the day. And it was there that I understood esports in a whole new dimension. We know that publishers and developers, and mainly developers creating the games and the publishers that have the opportunity to distribute it, they create a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for their game to meet the need of the fan. And that's really where it all started. If you go back into time when video games were built, when we didn't have esports, it was the game itself being bought, played by everyone, and it was there that they found that the ability of the player was different in every stage. There were those that were excelling beyond just a normal single player experience. And when you played against each other, you found that there was more competition and capabilities that were never ever found, like when we actually started. In that, we found that there was an opportunity to bring everyone together under an event. And that's truly what esports is. Esports is a setting that brings everybody under one roof: the publisher, the developer, the fan, the brands, the production teams, anyone and everyone that had any kind of infrastructure support for the actual game itself. And that's what esports really needs to be defined as in this day and age. We call everything esports, and that's not necessarily true. And I want to make sure that if there's anything you take away from this conversation, it's that esports is truly the event. And that's the celebration of the game with everybody in a live event setting. And that's where I've done my most work here in the 13 years that I've been doing this. I've worked on things with Twitch, Lineage 2 Revolution at TwitchCon, which was the #1 content at that time. I've worked on Vainglory Mobile. I've worked on RLCS and created it from the ground floor with Psyonix and Twitch at that time. I've worked with Summit House on Dota 2, CSGO, and even worked at Blizzard, where I had the opportunity to look at the beta for Overwatch, worked with Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, and even did some live tournaments for Heroes of the Storm. One of the most important pieces that I can share with you that makes esports go very well in the growth of what we do is the fan. Everyone seems to forget the fan. This is not a money grab, and there are no billionaires in esports other than the developers and publishers who've created some of the most amazing games. You can make money as a content creator, but when you come down to esports as a whole, it's about the gamer, it's about the experience, and it's about the live event, as well as playing the game and building the game out so that the fan can really enjoy it for what it is. And that's the most important piece that I can leave you today, is that that should always be most important, gamer first. And what I mean by that is that the gamer first experience is, if the fan is going to continue to be a part of that community, you will always have someone to go to that's going to always look forward to the next experience, the next activation, the next live event. When you open the door to just a money grab, it never ever grows. And that's where your challenge is. We've seen a lot change in the last 13 years, and I am honored, even at this moment, to be able to bring esports to India in a special way with all of my experience and the team that I built it with. And I'm grateful for all of them for what they've offered for me to be able to do. And as you'll see when Shiva Nandi speaks later, he is one of the amazing people that I get to work with, and that I'm looking forward to creating this MOGO Championship 2.0 at lovely LPU, or Lovely Private University, that we'll be doing during this time when you hear me speak. I am so honored to be in India to create a market that is going to understand and educate every gamer to be able to enjoy these games, grow with these games, grow with their communities, and always remember that they are first in line for what goes on. I hope and pray that as you guys finish doing these different speaking engagements, and as you grow through this summit, that you always look to what the gamer and the fan needs. And with that, you'll find growth and you'll see less challenge. Being here after 13 years lets you know that it's all about being a community. And when we lose that sight and knowing as many gamers as you have in India and around the world, that's most important. So I hope that after this speech, as you go through the many, topics and conversations, that you always think about the gamer and never forget what his or her opportunity to bring to the table means to each and every one of you. Use focus groups, have opportunities to listen, and that will be your greatest edge against anything else that you do in your competition. And may esports and video gaming never lose its sight, and that it's the most important industry here in this day and age, especially with technology. And I give a shout out to every gamer here who's listening, and to every developer who develops, and to the publisher who distributes, and to the indie game developers who will never give up. I hope they keep going and they keep striving for what is about to come. And let AI be a blessing and not a curse. And may everything that you do be simple and soulful, and never lose the edge on what it is that is most important, to which I say is gamer first. It's been a privilege to speak to you. I look forward to hearing everyone else's talks. I hope to meet you someday. And if you would like to, you can follow me on Twitter, now X, at Kim A. Meltzer. Take care, have a wonderful event, and I look forward to meeting you someday soon.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views on esports ecosystem. Moving ahead with our next panel discussion on game streaming, content creation, and game development. For this panel, we have Ravi Kiran, who is the founder and CEO at Go Live Gaming Studios. Piyush Berry, who is the head of product development strategy at Vidzeal Technologies Private Limited, and Sagar Nair, who is the co-founder and CEO at Clan. This panel would be moderated by Rohit Agarwal, who is the founder and director at Alpha Zegis Marketing.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to this amazing panel discussion today. We have a very interesting topic and even more interesting panel with us. The thing about this panel is that every panel that I have moderated before, every panel that I've been a part of before, has been like a group of people that are probably from the same space, or they address a similar concern in the community, and that's how we talk about a topic. But in today's panel, we literally have people from the real money gaming space, the indie gaming space, the social networking space. There's literally so much diversity that every question that I'm probably going to put across is going to have a very different perspective to it. So on that note, the topic that we are going to be discussing today is game streaming, content creation, and game development. I think everyone over here has something or the other to contribute to it. In terms of the panelists that we have Mr. Piyush Berry, Head of Product Development Strategy with Vidzeal Technology, Mr. Ravi Kiran, CEO Go Live Games, Mr. Sagar Nair, Co-founder and CEO Clan, and Mr. Karman Singh Tikka, a gamer and a content creator. I think he is one of the finest FIFA players in India right now. So without further ado, panel, I would like to start this session. So let me give you a quick context, a quick crux of what we are going to be discussing today. So as you guys know that both the competitive and the content creation scenario in India has really boosted over the past couple of years, especially since the pandemic. And I think we would all agree that there are many, many, many factors that have contributed to it, right? Whether it's the increase in the audience base, whether it's support from the government, support from stakeholders, support from sponsors. And another very critical thing is there are these new platforms like, the newer streaming platforms like Loco, Router, Glance, and all that have stepped in and that have created newer monetization opportunities for a lot of professional players as well as for a lot of content creators, right? We have always had platforms like YouTube, Twitch, and all, but the amount of expansion that they've seen over the past couple of years has been massive. Like people are running to become content creators now. They would love to express themselves in front of the camera and kind of get their word out there, and in exchange monetize and grow multifold. So couple of things that I really want to learn from you guys today surrounding this topic. So yeah, like I was saying that all these uh, the growth of streaming platforms these days has been substantial, and it is, I think, contributing to each one of us in some or the other way, right? So, Mr. Ravi, I would like to know from you, like as a game publisher, and I in fact know you on a personal basis as well. So, indie games, of course, have shown very, very promising growth in the past few years because people, especially content creators, are becoming more and more open to the idea of experimenting new games, new concepts, unconventional stuff. So I would want to know from you that as a game publisher, how have streaming platforms contributed towards indie games? Like, are you seeing streaming platforms giving any additional support towards the growth of these titles, or is it like currently you're only associating with content creators or with the general audience in order to kind of like promote the idea of indie gaming and grow it in the industry?
Sure. So to answer this, I want to take two parallel tracks. One is publishing in itself, and the second is content creation, and how both have been going hand in glove all through the last decade and a half in a way. So the first wave of mobile gaming was really the wave which saw the growth of App Store and Play Store. At this juncture, I mean, just to give some personal anecdotes, at this juncture, when we launched a game called Shiva the Time Bender a decade and a half ago, almost 2012, 2013, decade ago, these stores used to reach out to us, to the indie developers, and tell us, hey, we want to promote your game. We will give you lots of users. Please be ready for the growth. Keep your servers ready. And we literally saw 5 million users for a game. It was in 2013, if I'm not wrong, like a decade ago. At that juncture, organic growth meant growth through social media like Facebook, or in those days, Google Plus, sharing, and so on. The second wave was between 15 to 18 till almost 19, where the same growth didn't happen, but the stores would identify the best indie titles, promote like hell, because of which we used to have lots and lots of organic users. Just as an example, at this juncture, when we launched our Jungle Book title, we had 2.6 million users. We still did like 10% user acquisition, but 90% was still organic and growth. And at that point was when content creators, streaming also started picking up globally. Now, at this juncture, content creators were mainly esports content creators. They would only talk about hardcore games, where the skill in playing the game was what was very important for the audience watching that. It was not too much about entertainment content overlapping with games. Entertainment content creators were there. They're doing fun content as opposed to content about games. Now, the third wave is both the rise of content creation, also the death of organic growth in a way. So now, even if Google or Apple want to push a game, it doesn't relate to millions of users anymore. They'll still support all the good titles. For example, some of our titles have been selected for Indie Accelerator or App Scale Academy, where they selected top 100 games and so on, top 100 games and apps from India and so on. But today, organic means completely different, because even if I have 100,000 user community on a platform like Facebook, I can't say for sure that 20 or 50,000 users will come into my new game. Those days are gone. Now, this is where creators can play a big role, and they have started playing a big role in India. Globally, they have been playing a big role already because they saw this as a growth potential. So let's say there is a BGMI creator, and if he sticks to just BGMI with the ups and downs of BGMI, let's say getting banned, or let's say going out of fashion, some games do go out of fashion after 3-4 years, right? The creator will not have a future. Instead, they have become more mature. They're experimenting with different genres, understanding what their audience wants. And this is perfect for game studios, because if they're not getting organic growth, how will they get users? So if a game doesn't have enough critical mass of users, the game will never succeed. So to get that, content creators become a big part, especially in companies like mine. We have been doing campaigns with content creators since 4 years, but now, especially this year, is when content creators are 75% of our audience, I mean, our user acquisition budgets. So that change has happened, and it's so heartening to see that indie studios are also realizing this, and content creators are also realizing the best of the indies have to be supported. And it's a fantastic win-win situation. It's going amazingly well for people like us. So we have gone ahead and added modes called influencer mode in our games, where content creator can play with their fans live. They literally say, hey, do you want to play with me? Here's the code, join this room, let's challenge each other out, and so on. So just giving an example, but that is how the industry has been evolving. And today organic is synonymous with content creator based campaigns and stuff. So that's a great place, great win-win for both parties.
Very interesting point that you raised, that organic is not organic anymore, right? Because so we have Sagar over here, and Sagar is the CEO of Clan, which is a social networking platform. And since you mentioned organic is not organic anymore, Sagar, I would actually want to hear from you, because this statement is very, very relevant to your business and your line of work. So when we say organic is not organic anymore, you as a social media platform, how are you kind of pushing like whether it's real money gaming titles or indie titles, whether it's through creators, whether it's through the community, whatever tools that you're using, how are you really leveraging this concept of organic is not organic anymore?
That's a great question, Rohit. And like Ravi said, I mean, organic is right now, it does need to have some level of influence, right? The thing is, when we talk about indie games or we talk about homegrown titles being picked up on a platform such as ours, which is very content heavy, and we mainly focus on esports and competitive games, not so much real money gaming, because the social aspect is fairly limited when it comes to RMG. But of course, the esports ecosystem is built in a manner where you need to connect with other gamers, build squads. The churn is quite high on that angle as well. But yeah, there is some level of influence in what we've personally noticed for Clan is, of course, acquisition-wise, content creators are a great medium. We've been very selective and particular about what sort of creators do we work with when we put out the brand to a larger subset. But we've categorically picked creators that focus not on the mass, but at least in the niches that they operate in, right? Even creators have become very aware of the fact that there's a different geography. Language is a big factor when it comes to India, and influencers and content creators. What sort of device you use is also massive, right? All of these things create a level of relatability for a normal gamer to look up to a content creator. And all of these aspects do add on to someone's decision making at the end of the day. So, I mean, if the content is put out in a manner, I mean, you try whatever, if it's an upfront ad or if it's a creator talking about you, and we all know how can we look and look paid content to be very organic, right? But we do see a lot of advocacy within the community. For instance, we're focused very India right now. The idea is to get the product market fit within this year, very well developed within the Indian market. But it came as a surprise to us. We have users on every continent of the world without even reaching out to them or even marketing. Our second largest user base comes out of the United States, which was a surprise for us as well. So this is the gaming community and its influence within itself, right? It would probably be a YouTuber's content that reached to a certain subset in the US, or probably it's the community within Clan that's sort of enabling this. But when it comes to gamers, the peer-to-peer advocacy is a large part, which is somewhere influenced, for the lack of a better word, from someone they look up to and they heavily relate. So, I mean, yeah, the meaning of organic might have changed, but yeah, that level of advocacy, that level of trust being instilled by someone you believe in or someone you have looked up to or someone you follow is very rare. And I think it's here to stay. We're seeing that not only in gaming, but across genres, be it lifestyle, be it fintech is a massive, massive content creation area now. And again, advocacy is what leads to that decision making, which sort of has become organic in today's day and age.
Right. I think that's a great response. And Mr. Piyush, like from you, I would want to know that you deal in a category which is real money gaming, and there are certain slight restrictions that exist in terms of marketing this space. But I would want to know from you that uh, as an RMG segment, have you guys been leveraging content creators, streaming platforms, like anything that's not the traditional like in-app integrations or media budgets, but these kind of integrations with content creators or streaming platforms?
So I think the nature of the game is very different. What we'll have to look at is that usually in a streaming level of game, the content has to be a little elongated, which means that the RNG games are of very short duration nature. Usually within a minute, we'll try and finish multiple games so that the churn rate of the money is much faster. That's how RNG makes money. And that is how the games are also designed. But for streaming, you need a little more elongated content. So a lot of companies have started working around with specifically with poker tournaments. Influencers have started coming into picture because tournaments are of again an elongated nature, 4 hours, 5 hours. They'll run for a longer time, and poker is becoming very popular nowadays in India as well, and a lot of Indian poker influencers are playing in international arenas as well. So I think that is one place where RMG is using certain sort of influencers, but otherwise in general, it's very traditional in nature in terms of using just regular Insta influencers or TikTok influencers to just get the word out, but not specifically from a gaming perspective. And I don't think RMG currently strives on streaming per se. And fantasy, which is another very popular genre in RMG, is probably never going to have a streaming angle attached to it.
Right. So, Piyush and Ravi, I would like to ask both of you all this one question. Would you rather prefer working with a content creator that's higher on skill or that's higher on reach? And when I say skill, it's with respect to your domain, whether it's skill in an indie game or skill in an RMG. So would you rather work with someone with greater skills or with a greater reach?
It's an interesting question. I think you have to what you have to see is what is your objective, right? If the objective is to show the power or the engagement or the quality of the game, then I think somebody with the skill matters a little more. If the objective is for user acquisition, ROI, improving the CPIs, then I think somebody with far more reach to the relevant audience works better always.
So let me give it a different twist with 2 examples. So like I was mentioning, right, on the organic scale and stuff. I mean, it's a pet topic of mine that if you hit the top 5 in ranks, free ranks, top new free or top free basically, when someone opens their mobile phone, they see the top 5 games at any point. So in fact, top 3 is even better, but top 5 is still good enough. So that's when a lot of installs come just on the basis that you're in the top 5. Top 5, hitting top 5 regular games in today's world in India is at least 100,000 new users a day. So keep that in context and start understanding. So we worked with a very big company sometime a couple of years ago, and we did 2 campaigns, one with the massive entertainment streamer who got us 400,000 downloads within a week. Okay, so like our target of hitting top 5 was hit very easily, but 360K of them wouldn't even open a second time because they were not used to these kind of mid-core strategy games and whatnot, right? There's another campaign who's a game influencer who got us only 40,000 users during that week, but more than 20,000 of them were playing even after a week. So when you look at the goals of the campaign, unless the goal is to hit top 5, just focus on presenting the content in a good way with someone who has the skill to explain and play the game. So gone are the days when the influencer will do some time pass video and then just talk about the game for 15 seconds thinking people will install it. Those days are gone. People in India have gotten very smart, especially over COVID. They've played almost every type of game and whatnot, and now they know what kind of games they want to play. That's why just a small advert will not have great conversion. So presenting the game, presenting how to play the game, what is cool in it becomes very important. In that context, only a creator who's skilled at gaming can even explain it. So my long answer to be summed up is, unless you're going for more than 100 or 200,000 users each day in user acquisition, just focus on skilled gamers and present your game in the right light to all the audience. So in that sense, whatever the reach may be, it's better to have someone explain the game better with skill.
Very interesting take. Really like that response. Sagar, why don't you tell me, like from a social networking platform point of view, I believe your platform is all about conversations between people, right? If I may ask, do you see more conversations happening around, like professional conversations in terms of, sharing gameplay experiences or talking about gameplays or, just exchanging gaming knowledge with each other? Or do you see more conversations happening that are just casual conversations between people from the community, which could be completely unrelated to a certain game or to a certain skill set? Like, what is the kind of ratio that you generally see?
Sure. So what we've noticed on Clan is most of the conversations are around the cold start problem that the underdog side of the community faces. We're a very ground up approach. We focus on the underdogs, which is the terminology used, or probably the ones that are trying to make a mark. We deal with a lot of young content creators for whom probably Instagram and YouTube didn't work out. Now, be it because of the algorithmic challenges or the bigger issue on larger platforms like those which are not verticalized is, of course, the sheer noise that exists in form of genres. So for us, most of the conversations are around content creators seeking an opportunity, making the most of the fact that it's a vertical community and every piece of gaming content that's put out is being consumed by the right audience. So that's a big plus that they see within themselves. On the esports side or the competitive side of things, most of the conversations are around discovery because we've enabled the discovery of talent through a very data-driven process where users can come. Their profile holds everything about what games they play. Going a step ahead, their in-game statistics are listed there. And basic information, which is a big factor for gamers to sort of take that decision of, do I want to connect with this individual? Do we speak the same language? Are we gaming on the same device? Are we compatible, or can I do a quick background check? So most of the conversations are around problems people might face. We've seen a young crop of potential managers. There are people putting out and building conversations around the fact that they want to become coaches. They managed teams in the past. We're also seeing a lot of communities that existed on a WhatsApp before a clan in the picture. These are scrim organizers. These are small scale tournament organizers. When I say small scale, of course, in terms of the seriousness, it's right up there. But small scale because they deal with a lot of undiscovered communities. And even these small scale communities can range between anything, say from a 5K community that they run on a WhatsApp in multiple groups to 25K that exist on Discord. So again, all of these guys are adopting Clan because it's cleaner, because it's leaner, and it's just easier to sort of find people, get those conversations going. The feed plays a very important role to start these conversations because most of the open-ended conversations are made public. And the way we've built out the platform and what we're seeing being appreciated by the community as well the games that you play as an individual become the ethos of your experience on client. So the content that you will see will be around, say for instance, you play a lot of Valorant. The content that you will see will be around Valorant. The people you will discover on the platform, the tournaments you might stumble across on the platforms are all around the games that an individual plays. So yeah, to sum it up, a lot of conversations around problems people are facing and just them trying to find effective solutions to those.
Nice, yeah. So, Sagar, if I may ask you, uh, according to you, what are these certain steps or improvements that can happen in the community that will really boost your line of work over the next 5 years? Whether it's like government support, sponsorships, community support, or whatsoever. According to you, what are like these small things that will make big changes to your line of work over the next 5 years?
I honestly feel, of course, there's a little bit of everything that you probably pointed towards or tapped upon. But for what we've noticed, it needs to be publisher driven. We're seeing games like Raider 6 being launched, industries around the corner. But it has to be driven by the publishers. The reason why BGMI and a Free Fire are thriving right now and a Valorant when it comes to the PC side of things is picking things up is because the publishers are actively involved with the community. And we've come to such a point where even if the game is out of this world, right? You build a fine product, but if the publisher is not enabling that ecosystem around it, it just fails to pick up the way the leading titles did. I mean, Raider 6 has been live for a while, but I think what we hear from our community is the fact that they're waiting for the esports side to pick up. It'll be the competitive side's sort of push or growth that will in tandem grow the content creation side of it. So what we've accepted, seen, and strongly believe when it comes to esports and content, they go hand in hand. If the esports community is bigger, if the publisher is doing the right things with the community, being involved firsthand, the content side just picks up organically because the entire proposition of that game becomes larger as a stake within the verticals. So, I mean, more publisher involvement and more kick-ass games, I feel, will definitely help our community thrive.
Right. Piyush, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
So, a couple of things. Okay, one, RNG is very money-driven. Okay. All the decisions that product managers make, founders make, marketing team makes is very money at the core. Which does not happen in the games which are very streaming oriented. So I think taking few pointers from what Sagar is saying and Ravi is saying, that one, engaging content, and two, I think within the industry insider, at least the forum that is here right now, it is very evident that in a couple of years we are just waiting for that Paytm or a COVID kind of moment for delivery apps, to just take that boom. Maybe it's just one Fulton away from India to get the streaming right at the mainstream of it. So I think we're not that far. The content is there, capability, talent is there, technology is there. Internet, super internet is there now. Widespread internet is there. So I think everything is there. It's just waiting for that right spark.
Right. Ravi, what about you?
Yeah, so there are two very big shifts that I'm observing over the past 3 years or so. COVID was just a blip. Honestly, it has to be corrected, and I'll explain how those are getting corrected as well in the two scenarios, right? The first scenario is, imagine the 5-10 million people playing in India, right? Right now, apparently 5-10 million people are playing games every month. That's 51 crore people are playing, and it'll only probably go to 70-80 crores over the next 2-3 years. Now they'll play same games, let's say Subway Surfer, Hill Climb Racing, Ludo King, for some time. After that, they're going to crave a much more serious experience, right? Now, at that point is when they start getting accustomed to mid-core games like BGMIs, Free Fires, or strategy games like Clash of Clans, Clash Royales. That is why these second category of games, once the player gets a taste of it, they won't go back to casual, hyper-casual games anymore. That is why once players come to this mid-core level, they stay there, and this is the reason why they're the top 10 grossing games of all time. I mean, like basically, if you go to top 10 grossing charts, every time it's these mid-core big games from international studios. Now, whether they'll come from Indian studios very soon or after a few years has to be seen, but that's with time, right? So people will crave for more serious experiences, and the impact on the content creator side is in the COVID time, any silly, stupid content could also get you views because people were just, they had nothing to do at their home. Today, they have 100 things to do in their job and college and whatnot. So you can't get away with average content anymore. My recommendation would be focus on skill in whatever game you are showing. Because I remember from my pro days as an Age of Empires or Warcraft 3 player, that the videos we used to watch was how did someone execute a new strategy? How did someone figure out a new thing in the game or what counters what? Today, most people don't do that. It's more about fun, time pass, whatever nonsense you can spew while that days will be gone soon. So people have to evolve, and much more skilled gamers like Mortals and Scouts will be the ones growing more than people who are just doing time pass. On a parallel note, let's look at cricket and what happened with cricket in India and compare it with games and esports, right? If you look at cricket, probably 30-40% of Indians play cricket, including girls at some early age. They don't play because they want to like earn lakhs immediately. Even winning a gully tournament is a big deal. Winning a medal in a school is a big thing. Now that is where in gaming and esports, something like an NFT wave is gonna come, where someone plays, they win something, you won a medal or a certificate. Today, that's not happening. Luckily, the blockchain gaming wave in India is very big. We're almost 25% of the global gaming wave in Web3 in that sense. So such things will impact. Now, what's the next level? Someone comes to late teens, they start picking up cricket professionally, they play in district, Ranji. Now, that structure was missing in India for long for many games. Crafton came, built it for PUBG, now BGMI. Free Fire built some sort of a international structure as well for Free Fire. So Valorant is trying to do that for. So any place where there is the next step, which is clearly visible, will definitely have passionate people picking up the mantle, just like India from being some afterthought in cricket World Cup started winning World Cups or has the best players, will happen even in esports. That when esports and content creators who are like very skilled in top level pros will definitely have huge following, make great content, great money. Just like a Virat Kohli has brand endorsements, esports players will also have massive brand endorsements and such. Now, these two things to me are the trend that players will be, or fans, content viewers will be very demanding soon. Content creators have to be improving constantly as well. Otherwise, it's not a profession for them. They probably do it in their late teens or early young adult age, and then they'll go to some regular job. That's not what I recommend. So I would say they also upskill, just like gamers are getting upskill. And then there will be an amazing situation like in China, right? China, about 300-350 million people play more than 2 hours every day. So much so that the government had to curb it. Otherwise, it would be 8 or 10 hours. So 35 crore people just playing for 8 to 10 hours is like doing a job. In India, we're not there yet, but I'm saying even if it's 1 or 2 hours that people will play on an average, they'll be very demanding. So it needs great experiences. They need not be built from India. They'll come from abroad. Every publisher will come to India. It is the last greenfield country out there. They saw the rise of China, they missed it. So in India, they'll not miss it. Everyone will come. Mixi, Free Fire, Craft, and everyone's announced huge monies for that reason. That when India becomes like that 4x, 10x growth over the next 5 years, no one wants to miss the bus. And I would say content creation should also not miss the bus. It can't be Mr. Beast becoming the Mr. Beast of India. Unfortunately, in publishing, Tencent is the Tencent of India. But at least in content creation, maybe Scout or Mortal are the Mr. Beast of India.
Right. Thank you so much, Ravi. Thank you, entire panel, Sagar, Piyush. We'll have to wrap things up now. I think everyone has a long day ahead. But thank you so much for giving your time today. And I hope the audience really picks up on a lot of things that we discussed. And like I already mentioned before, the panel over here is a very interesting one with RMG category, indie category, social networking category. So yeah, if there are any questions, I think all of you guys are on Twitter. Everyone is on Twitter here. So yeah, so any questions, I think you guys can push those questions towards them. And thank you so much for joining in today.
And just one last word, thank you to AdGully for enabling this wonderful panel discussion. Have a great day, everyone.
And greatly moderated. And yeah, and it's funny how the individual who deals with content creators for a living had very little to contribute in the conversation. Hope we can reverse those the next time we tap it.
That's him being modest as a moderator. Cheers,
No,
guys.
I got
Have
a
a
lot
great
of
day.
learning from y'all, which I can use now. So yeah, so thank you so much, guys. Have a
Cheers,
good day.
guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your valuable insights with us. Moving ahead with our last panel discussion on maximizing ROI. For this panel, we have Megha Nair, who is the Senior Vice President at Digital Media Planning at Kara India. Shayad Mirza, who is the Vice President of Digital Planning, PhD Media India. Vineet Shah, who is the General Manager at Madison Digital. This panel will be moderated by Shubhamoy Das, who is the National Director at Group M ESP. Over to you all.
So, hi everyone. This is Shubhamoy here. I'm the session chair, and I represent Group M ESP, which is the entertainment, esports, and sports vertical within Group M. Today, we are here to discuss the topic, which is a burning matter, that is maximizing ROI for mobile gaming in a dynamic market. I mean, while we have, and to discuss this topic, we have Megha Nair, Senior Vice President, Digital Media Planning, Kara India. We have Shayad Mirza, Vice President of Digital Planning, PhD Media India, and Vineet Shah, General Manager, Madison Digital. So before we get into the discussion, quickly setting the context of why are we talking about this. So currently, India boasts of approximately 450 to 500 million individual gamers. Most of them are on their mobile phones, thanks to device data and digital penetration, all of which is getting cheaper, better, and faster. In terms of game downloads, India beats its closest competitor, that is Brazil in case of Google Play Store, and China in case of iOS Play Store, by more than double in 2022. That's massive numbers. From time spent perspective, India averages about 8.5 hours per week during FY22. With 5G rollout on the horizon and hyper-casual games driving the download market share, the landscape is very hard to ignore from an advertiser perspective. And that said, first measuring and then maximizing ROI in mobile game advertising becomes a hot topic for discussion. And that's what we are going to do today. To start off, let's start off with defining ROI in mobile gaming advertising. What does ROI mean in the context of mobile game advertising? And to answer this question, I'll like to bring in Shayak. Shayak, would love to hear your thoughts on this.
Sure, Shubhamoy. Thanks a lot for asking this. See, it's a burning question, obviously, that how do we define return on investment for both developers and advertisers. I think keeping the basics in mind and without going much into the problem statements, etc. right now. But see, for as far as developers are concerned, there are primary two targets which they will be gunning for. One is monetization, as to how much are they monetizing for what every ad impression is yielding for them, and hence what is the ads based revenue in terms of growth. Now these monetizations can be based on advertisers spends, or it can be based on in-app purchases, etc. So, and hence the second point is lifetime value. So what LTV is a particular user or a ad ID, so to say, is generating and yielding them. That's basically what the sense of measurement for a developer is.
right? When it comes to advertisers, obviously things change, because then it's about how much and how much we should be spending, and what is basically my yield against what I'm spending for, right? Again, this boils down to two key things. One is the cost efficiency, which is basically whatever they are spending based on last click attribution models, because obviously there are certain brands which do operate on the multimedia mix, funneling, etc., and attribution analytics. But right now, in terms of pure play gaming advertising perspective, largely last click attribution, what is the yield towards those last click attribution? And second, obviously their CPI slash CPA slash CPS should be higher than the LTV, right? At a overall level. So it should be lower, sorry, than the LTV at a overall level. And third part, it's more notional, is that what is the word of mouth when it comes to advertising, because we see a lot of gaming creators these days creating and generating content as we go along, right? So what is that notional word of mouth? What is that notional, so to say, virality factor involved for any advertising within the game environment, etc.? I think those are the key things that matter to either a developer or an advertiser.
Thank you, Shaq. There was a lot of acronyms there. Vineet, would you want to weigh in?
Absolutely. So, guys, thankfully, to start with, advertising on gaming can seldom go wrong in terms of the brand safety parameters due to the kind of environment it features on, making it slightly more brand safe than the other mediums. However, there are four fundamental parameters that I would like to kind of bring into the conversation, which I feel are quite important from a measurement point of view. One is obviously, unmuted inventory in a gaming ad. Now, this is again, there's no way, or there are very few measures to kind of see that how we can measure this. Second is accuracy in terms of the on-target audience reached, considering all the signals for gaming are probabilistic. Then obviously the user's sentiment while consuming the ads are again a key element to measure, considering these, a lot of gaming ads would be rewarded inventories, and then from a consumer psyche point of view, how it works. And lastly, the mind measure movement in terms of brand recall awareness, that the medium ads over, say, the other mediums where the advertising launch. Now, partners like IIS, Moat, Nielsen can help us measure the first two parameters, which are in terms of the on-target reach, in terms of the unmute gaming inventory, and so on. While there are AI partners like Emozo, with its face recognition tech, can today help in mapping users' sentiments while the gaming or while the ad is being exposed to them, taking the most of the factors of ad being intrusive. And lastly, popular gaming platforms also have their internal BLSs, or a Kantar coming on board to do an external BLS will help us with mind measures. But I personally feel all these parameters will be weighed very strongly in terms of gaming, purely because the competition that it faces from YouTube, which takes in terms of all the parameters, gaming has to score somewhere higher.
Great, thank you, Vineet. I mean, clearly the word on the table is that considering the kind of quantum of monies that's going in, there are enough and more ways and means to have a qualitative as well as a quantitative measure of the spends, right? That said, actually, I'll like to bring in Shayak again on defining what would the landscape of mobile gaming advertising be, because the landscape is fast changing, and it would be worthwhile to understand what all is there on the table for people to latch on to. So, what do you, Shayak?
Sure. See, as we know, the time spent right now and post-COVID, there was a huge change in phenomena as to how users did gaming, so to say, right? So it was initially a very casual sort of gamer to a entire phenomena which we witnessed of PUBG and then BGMI, Call of Duties, etc., right? So where it lands in advertiser is what are the available options? How do I sort of utilize the platforms and utilize the entire ecosystem, so to say, right? So thankfully, we have multiple level of advertising options within the ecosystem as well, right? So one is in-game ads, right? And these are the pure play static banners to a video ad, so to say, which generally comes around during the gameplay, before the gameplay, after the gameplay, right? yes, there are sort of challenges in terms of intrusion of the gameplay involved within this. But whenever the developer has given liberty as to not to disrupt the gameplay, it's actually beneficial for the advertiser as well, because then the focus on those ads are much higher if the intrusions are very less, right? Second, we have seen a lot of interactive ads coming into play, right? So the rich media formats wherein the ads in itself are the games, right? I think most of the telephone advertisers have been leveraging this for a while now, and using the features, the security, etc., and bringing in to those gaming environment. Third and very important is reward-based advertising, right? And this essentially means that you reward a consumer by viewing an ad or clicking on an ad, whatever action you want them to take, right? And they actually gain to stand a life or some level of incentive during their gameplay. So it enhances the gameplay within the ecosystem, right? And third and foremost are the native ads which are within the game environment itself, right? So there are free worlds within the games where you can roam around, you can explore the games like a GTA, etc., right? There are a lot of in-game which are done via producers and via the game producers. There, the inherent environment itself is used for advertising purposes, right? And we have seen a lot of classic examples there. And lastly, but not the least, right now, due to the creator economy, there's a lot of gameplays which happen, which are streamed, right, on platforms like a Router or YouTube for that matter, or Twitch, right? And that's where a lot of word of mouth can be generated while integrating with these key gamers or key streamers, so to say. And third, obviously, esports. As an ecosystem, it's slowly and gradually picking up. It has been for a while, but once the brands understand as to what their objective are to reach a particular user or a community or a group of people, then based on that, they can pick and choose their individual platforms or individual advertising option, which makes sense, right? But yes, it's a huge opportunity. Depends on brand, what do they want to achieve, where do they want to go, and then based on that, leverage the ecosystem as a whole.
That's a huge list of available aspects, considering it's still in its nascent stage. Actually, let's go one by one. Let's start off with in-game advertising. So Vineet, how can in-game advertising be effectively used without disrupting the gaming experience? Do you have any examples which you would want to quote here?
Absolutely, sure. So in gaming, advertising can help build saliency for the brand, empowering the brand with high brand recall. Additionally, I feel if the brand is seamlessly integrated into the gaming experience, it will also help in building consideration for the brand. So you're solving two tasks, right? Saliency and consideration. Now at Madison, we have two brilliant case studies from a CPG point of view, that how a contextual or an in-game advertising has kind of helped us, and that too in moving the business scale as well. So what the first example that I would like to place on table is basically for Setwit, where we were able to make movement in sales and create a business impact. Now Setwit, a men's styling and grooming brand, we had integrated the brand in online gaming streams, where the streamer gets ready with a certain kind of hairstyle to boost his confidence while he's streaming the game, an action game for that matter. And the brand was seamlessly integrated, where the streamer was actually creating a certain hairstyle and then also talking with his followers in the live game, saying that, okay, is it looking good? Then obviously in two ad pods, there was Setwit ka ad, which was also placed, and then there was an entire theme of the Setwit ad or the banners that were there in the entire game streams. Now, with no other media inputs and external factors like media promotions or distribution and everything being the same, we saw an uplift in sales in that quarter. And it was a testament for how possibly this as a vertical, and I'm not even saying gaming inventory, but a game stream, and obviously taking, say, 3 or 4 streamers and then streaming with them, created a certain impact within the target audience, which is youth who's also consuming games. Now, again, this was a classic example where the ad was not intrusive. The users opted in to see the game stream, and it was not a push marketing. And again, the streamer was an influencer over here, but natively integrated the brand in his content. Another example I would like to quote is a mini game that was created for hit mosquito spray, right? Where mosquitoes were flying around and a person had to just press the button to get rid of them. Now, this is much like an action game where you would, pinpoint on the target and the target gets shooted, right? Now, this is a brilliant way to show product usage and its impact to build strong consideration. So in both of the cases, we could see that there was either a mind measure moment or a business impact in absolute, right? And that's like where you moved consideration, you moved saliency, and to a great extent, you also kind of hit the bottom of the funnel in the set fit case. So if used contextually, it will definitely be like a great asset to work with.
Perfect. I think the three key things which I heard and I my take back from this was one, it has to be not intrusive. Second, it should not be push, it should be more of a pull, and which is where the influencer or the key opinion leaders in this particular case comes in.
Exactly.
Thank you. That was great. Megha, bringing you in here, since we've already spoken about in-game advertising, it would be worthwhile discussing the next gamut of advertising inventory that's available, which is interactive and playable ads, and what's the impact of it. So, Megha, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. So I think there are a lot of factors that come into play. I think apart from higher engagement, because users actually get a chance to engage with these ads because they provide an interactive and immersive experience. The other thing that also happens really is the improved conversion rates. Because these ads are playable, the users get a chance to experience a snippet of the game or the app, giving them a taste of the product. So this definitely leads to a higher conversion rates and and in few cases a more qualified lead also. Thirdly, I think it's a better user experience. User appreciate that if you're giving them the opportunity to interact with the content, making it more, receptive to the advertising messages rather than the push space of going. Another point from a marketer perspective is that it's a good from a data collection perspective, which can help you refine your targeting and ad creatives, and hence, getting into a better ROI eventually. Another thing that could be we could, but it doesn't work around for everybody is the specific game genres, that for example, the formats often perform exceptionally when it's a casual and hyper casual games, whereas which are short versus engaging experience aligned with the gameplays that are there. So in more complex and immersive game genres, these impacts may not be as high as possible. One more factor that's really important is how well are you adapting to and creativity. Marketers need to make sure that their ads are tailored to suit the target audience and the specific game or the app that they're promoting. After doing this, it's important that we are checking and monitoring, the metrics like the click-through rates, conversion rates, rather than just doing it for the sake of testing and learning. So pretty much for me, in summary, I think interactive and playable ads can positively impact users' engagement and ROI, but their effectiveness may vary depending on the game genre and the quality of ad creatives. So it's important that marketers focus on delivering a great user experience by collecting and analyzing the data for optimal results, is what I feel.
Megha, you brought in a great point on the genre of the game in which you are eventually taking away your ads. Actually, on that, a lead-up question would be, do you think incentivizing a gamer, we are speaking about 450 to about 500 million gamers at that, with in-game rewards makes them watch the ad more? Do you really think it works? And if it does, which genre do you think it works in?
So, according to the recent Statica study, which was done in 2022, 77% of the gamers would watch an ad in exchange for a reward. And while this is the study, but I think a lot of campaigns that we have done at Dentsu Gaming, we do see the completion rates higher than 90%. So I think one thing it's important to understand that gamers are familiar with ads and clearly prefer to watch them, over paying money when looking to progress in a game or in exchange for a benefit. Ad recall also becomes much, much higher for Indian gamers, especially when it's about a topic of interest of theirs. Now, critical point that comes in here is that advertising is definitely going to be most effective when there is a symbiotic relationship that you can build between the campaign's creative and its context. When creatives, are integrated contextually into the gaming experience, brand appears as a player's companion, rather than being a force fit, bringing in a new content which could be like a native integration or a brand placements and rewarding are a few of the things that I felt.
Perfect, Megha. I think you have just given the headline for this particular session. Actually, on that note, Vineet, bringing you back in, since you already spoke about intrusive behavior and we are speaking about interactive and playable ads, what's your take on it? While Megha mentions that there is a greater receptibility from a gamer in the hyper casual and casual ecosystem, what's the overall take? Love to hear from you.
So I definitely agree with Megha to a great extent. Again, there will be some caveats, but see, currently today, Shubham, all push advertising formats are intrusive, be it TV, be it say your digital videos, and so is gaming. I guess where others draw the line versus gaming is that on other mediums, you still have an option to kind of exit the video or close the window per se. In gaming also, you have that option, but again, consumers have a vetted interest of kind of consuming that content or consuming that ad. And hence, it is different in terms of gaming versus others, while everything is push marketing that I've spoken about. So most of the gaming ad formats are rewarded inventory and a forced view, which then as per the consumer psyche also turns off the interest user in some cases, right? So while they're consuming the content for the reason of getting that reward, but not necessarily the brand recall is higher. And hence, I feel formats like, the mini games or formats like the online gaming streams would possibly score a bit higher in terms of engagement versus possibly a rewarded inventory. So I feel over here, the intrusiveness is not a challenge when it comes to advertising because 90% of the paid campaigns or paid mediums are intrusive. I guess somewhere gaming would possibly be a concern for me is where possibly it is also giving users the greed to consume the content, but then how much it is impacting back in to the advertiser or to the brand is something which is questionable. So yeah.
Perfect. So Vinny, just weighing in my personal point of view, from a mobile gaming perspective, I clearly see it as engagement at scale. There's no other platform which can give you at scale. And from in comparison to all the other media, while every other media from a content point of view is more one-to-many, wherein if you're watching a match, it is the broadcast which you're watching. There is no interaction which you are doing actively with that particular content. That's very unlike gaming, which as and when the day progresses, I think a greater amount of data would be collected and you will have a far richer media to base your point of view on as an advertiser. Is the way.
Shubham, just one point of view is I believe the way the communication is also placed in an advertise is important. So if you are blindly running the same TVC cutout for a gaming or any other media for that matter, I guess it'll be a blind spot. But again, as you rightly said, if you're able to kind of create forms which are not one to many, but possibly one to a few, and maybe a cohort of users, I guess that impact will be there. But the moment you keep it generic, and which most of the advertisers today are doing, I guess we'll still be in the art of kind of having that counted as an impression. But I don't know how hard it is work for you. But yeah, agree on both points with Megha and Shubham.
Perfect. So actually, Megha, bringing you back in, I recently chanced upon the work that you guys have done with Intel, with gaming influencers and so on and so forth. And that brings us to the next aspect of advertising option that's available, which is gaming influencers. Would love to hear your thoughts on it, especially from the point of view of brand safety, because we all are pretty well aware that in the interest of getting more and more views and followers, there are these final lines which a gaming influencer in specific tends to cross, which might not be in the best interest for an advertiser to come in. So your take on that? Megha?
Mute. Sorry, I was in mute. Sorry. So, we do see, numerous gamers have started live streaming their game performances and have garnered millions of followers. These influencers have massive reach and, engage our audiences which are interested in gaming. It's really crazy to see. There is live streaming happening, and there are people who are doing gaming, and there are people who are watching it also. So I mean, in India, I think sometimes we tell to the client, "Well, here everything is possible." So it's pretty crazy. I think, which is why it makes the ideal target specifically for the gaming companies, and these influencers help them reach these markets specifically from a audience perspective. Gaming influencers gets paid for their streams on streaming platforms. The audience who consume gaming content are also considering gaming stream as a part of it. It's purely as a part of their entertainment. So, and it's extremely popular among the Gen Z and also becoming as a part of their culture that we do. Also, I think from a checks perspective, and whether it's Intel or whether it's Chroma or the set of other clients that we're doing, see, it's all done manually. There is no tool right now to automate this process, and it's just done at a YouTube and Insta also at their end also do a lot of checks. But from a brand safety environment, all the marketing, agencies, gaming market agencies, platform and gamer keep a content hygiene parameters like profanity, alcohol use, political remarks, and other don'ts, so that the brand guidelines will be kept under strong monitoring. When the streams, are associated with any brand, it also becomes a controlled environment. And these gamers, whether it's the content creators, how they're coming in, they're also trained. There are specific agencies like talent agencies which are training them. When you get this kind of content, this is how you're supposed to reply. These are the comments which you should leave. So a lot of training and grooming is actually done also. So what really happens, because it's a strict instruction from the community teams to maintain a saliency in the language on the content. So you can imagine yourself Virat Kohli on a cricket ground versus a commercial. So those are few things that are definitely taken into account. I think other part of the question that you also mentioned were there a little bit of challenges, but I think because it's a form of sport which is non-controlled, non-branded environment completely, might attract a player to say something which might not be considered, parliamentary. However, the streaming platforms take, cognizance of the fact, and it issue warnings to the streamers. The beep, the word keeps coming in between, and hence sometimes it does offend, sometimes it doesn't offend. But I think most time now a lot of the gamers and the creators are very careful with the way they're actually interacting with the audience or speaking while they're doing the streaming. So it does become a controlled environment.
That was really insightful, Megha. I mean, I don't think I ever thought of having a training institute for gamers and gaming influencers.
It's crazy. It's crazy. There are publications which are just training these people. So what they do is they go to colleges every year. They go to colleges and they try and find hardcore gamers. And maybe in an year they are only able to get some like 50,000. But they invest their time and effort just to train these gamers and these gamers who then become content creators for them.
I mean, digressing
like
from the
talent.
Sorry,
it's more like talent hunt, which is
no, it's
there.
more like a talent development. I mean, digressing
Exactly,
from the topic,
absolutely. Hunt and develop.
digressing from the topic of gaming in specific. I mean, just imagine if similar trainings were to be done for Indian athletes who has been representing India at an Olympics or any of the world stages. The way they would interact with media, the way they would interact with the global audience at large would automatically change their marketability. That's food for thought for some other day. Shaik, bringing you back in. Now that we have spoken about all the gaming advertising aspects and available inventory, one thing which would need a little more dwelling is all these media only available for endemic brands, or do you think there is enough and more play for non-endemic brands to participate as well? What do you?
No, I think Shumai, it's for all, right? See, it has a huge reach, right? We know, and you mentioned rightly that we have some 450 million or 500 million gamers, right? Right now, which are either active or passive at whatever level, right? So it's a huge scope where we are at, right? Every other brand is looking to expand their reach on a weekly levels and then a monthly levels, right? There's an entire hypothesis, and then multiple starting from the likes of Leigh Bennis to everyone that what should be my frequency, reach, etc. be like. We are every now and then as marketeers, we are identifying what should my ideal reach curves be, right? So there's a huge opportunity, and I don't think only endemic brands should gather their opportunity. I understand that they they are very native to digital as a platform, and hence the attribution to ROIs is far easier because it being last funnel. But then, as Vineet rightly mentioned earlier, in terms of multiple brand level metrics which can come in, I think there a lot of advertisers, specifically more fast moving advertisers, I think they have a lot of things to benefit from. And apart from that, more and as I think Megha also mentioned, the symbiotic relationship with the users, right? So brands which really make sense, like mobile phone, for example, right? They are very native to the environment which a gamer is playing on, right? And I think that's where the opportunity lies. Another part is that it has a huge engagement, right? 8.5 hours of engagement is way higher, and post COVID, this really went leaps and bounds. The other thing is because there's a lot of brand integration, and as we've sort of spoken about, to all the opportunities which are there for the gaming as a platform, right? There's a lot of brand association and brand integration which can happen, which can ultimately aid on brand awareness metrics, the awareness, the recall, consideration movements, etc. And we've actually seen this at PhD. We actually launched a brand called Aiku. It was very new, and it took gaming as the core of their entire advertising. We did raid nights with BGMI, and we did some content influencers like Carrie Minati, Tanmay, etc. Right? That actually resulted in a lot of sales and a lot of conversation around the brand. Right? So it's not just about just placing their ads, and we've discussed this between Vineet, Megha, and yourself, right? That it's also about how natively can you integrate, right, while maintaining a healthy level of ad stock, so that you keep on leveraging more out of that advertising. And lastly, because of the targeting involved, it's ultimately digital, right? It's mobile, and the level of targeting which you can actually get into, your target advertising communication stands a chance to win, right? And apart from that, healthier positive association by creators. We have loads of creators like Dynamo, Carrie Minati, Total Gaming, etc., which are really huge, and they are like on there with the global players in India, right? A lot of positive associations can be built over the period of time with these influencers, and hence I think it's not just endemic brands which stand to win with this. I think gaming is very natural to us as Indians, right? It's whether it being a casual or it being a serious gaming, and hence there's a lot of chance for any traditional brand also to operate and then effectively garner better results, right?
Thanks, Shaq. That was really helpful. I think the writing's on the wall already. Just to summarize of all the discussion that we have had, I mean, we are talking about a 450 odd million audience, which in a non-gaming context is comparable to the reach of an IPL.
Yeah.
Doing 8.5 hours a week, which means more than an hour a day. That's way more than the average time spent on an IPL match, and engaged across multiple platforms, which means you're not reliant on only the live match, but also on multiple shoulder content and aspects which are available within the gaming ecosystem. So it's definitely worth its salt. Actually, now that we are drawing an end towards our panel discussion, quick 2 bits from all of you. One is on the prediction for the future. Which way would you want a marketeer to see when it comes to mobile game advertising, and what's one advice from your end towards a marketeer? So Megha, let's start off with you.
Sure, actually I have 3. I just thought with the experiences. Yeah, with the experience, I think at Denso Gaming there are many. I think first it's important to understand that gamers don't dislike ads. They just dislike the intuitions and the blended in-game formats. Keep the gameplay intact and the work with the activity, it will not work against it. So the more you're able to, again, I think come back to the point, because we've done that and it has worked in multiple, get the creative and context in place, and everything falls back. Then it's also important that the tailor messaging that you do to customize a person to the player, because the moment you layer it with customized messaging, then that problem of brand safety surprises also goes out completely. Thirdly, when it's combined with programmatic technology, advertisers can further personalize ads to, players without breaking the immersion. And it's important to know that if the focus of attention is made specifically on metrics by media verification companies, then rapidly the solution for in-app and environments in gaming is definitely going to become easier to measure. So I think it's important to start focusing from that perspective also.
Thank you, Megha. Shaik?
My POV, obviously, see, future predictions are really bright. When we started, it was a very casual sort of space, and slowly and gradually we have moved to more engagements, more users, right, over the period of time, and this will keep on increasing. I think as we have already elaboratively discussed, right, it's about how do you get into that space as a marketeer and leverage. So for example, what McLaren did with PUBG globally, right? It was a very native integration. What worked for the brand, still a question. But yeah, it was a very native integration within the ecosystem. And that's where players were actually going gung-ho about unlocking a McLaren, right? And that's where I think synergies lie between a marketeer, their brand, and the platform or ecosystem as a whole.
Vineet, over to you.
Absolutely. So the digital consumption is growing every year, and in fact, the online penetration in the rural market is also growing now. This is growing largely on the back of short-form video apps and gaming. So gaming is going to take a good pie of the media basket. Also, the time spent on gaming had seen a massive growth during the COVID and the lockdown. However, it's sustained after that, right? So the clear indication is, yes, consumers are spending time on all the mediums as well as gaming. However, how gaming can tick the box in terms of quality of impressions, in terms of measurement, in terms of reach at lowest cost, and in terms of moving mind measures. Now, I closely work with a lot of CPG brands. I know that these three elements are very critical for any advertiser, at least who's looking at branding per se, right? Now, gaming can be a slightly debatable topic for building the top of funnel. However, if I have to build middle of funnel and say somewhere bottom of funnel, gaming will be quite effective in building saliency and consideration. So contextual use of in-game advertising, online gaming streams can help us build the saliency, and the interactive mini games where I can integrate the brand seamlessly will also help me build consideration. So how effectively we use this for bottom and middle funnel, and for the top of the funnel, I guess there's some way to go, but if you're able to solve those challenges, I believe then gaming will be slightly more unmissable part in the media basket that we have today.
Perfect. Thank you, panelists. I think it's been made evidently clear during this discussion which we just had that gaming has traversed a lot of journey and there is a long journey to go. Having said, there is enough and more avenues for new and endemic as well as non-endemic advertisers to participate, dip their feet, check for results, and then accordingly build on successes. So that was a very fruitful discussion, my dear panelists. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you for the co-panelists as well. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing your insightful thoughts on various topics with us. Moving ahead, with our next segment, I would like to invite Nehal Shukla. Over to you, Nehal.
Thank you, Anushka. Hello, everyone. This is Nehal Shukla, your host for GameX Awards 2023. Our growth partner is Mob Avenue, gaming partner is Jugo Studios, and industry partner is All India Gaming Federation. Team, can we please play our sponsor AV? you, team. Well, I'm sure that all of you must have garnered all the insights from the summit about the gaming industry, the new developments that has happened, the opportunities and the challenges in the gaming industry altogether. Now, before we move forward to the much awaited GameX Awards, we have a very special address lined up for you, and that will be delivered by the CEO of our gaming partner, Jugo Studios, Mr. Suman BK, who will be sharing his views on shaping the future of gaming industry. Over to you, sir.
Hey, hi, good morning, everyone. This is Suman from Huego Studios. Thank you all for joining us today. So before we dive in, let me give some brief about Huego. So we are a game design development company. So over a decade, delivered more than 500 plus games across various clients in a range of genres from multiplayer to MMORPG to real-time strategy, spanning platforms like PCs, mobiles, and consoles. So today, as we discuss the future of gaming with exploring emerging technologies and trends, so I stand before you, honestly, not just a speaker, but as an avid enthusiast who consistently believe in exploring the boundless possibilities. So over the past few years, definitely the gaming industry has been an extraordinary witness to the groundbreaking evolutions, from Web3 to AI to AR, VR. So there has been a phenomenal advancement, no doubt about it. So today's emerging technologies, it isn't just a buzzword or some stuff of a science fiction, but it's a hard fact reality. So let's start few of those emerging ones. So let me initiate from cloud gaming. Now for me, it's like your instant coffee. Similar way, providing an instant access to these high quality games without need of your any big hardwares. By leveraging these powerful remote servers, it breaks barrier and enables player globally to experience these latest titles from any part of the place. So I believe as this technology advances, we foresee a future where games are quite ubiquitous, accessible, and platform agnostic, placing an unparalleled gaming experience in the hands of every individual. So AR and VR with mixed reality. So with this advent of new devices like Apple Vision Pro, updated HoloLens, these technologies are transforming our gaming landscape completely. So with the continuous refinement of your haptic sensors, 3D mapping, spatial computing, surely gonna it paves the way for that deeply immersive gaming experience where players would just love and enjoy. AI and ML. Now, these technologies have, I would say, emerged as a front runners in the gaming innovation. So especially take any part of the development on the game or any part of the stages, whether it is analysis, pre-production, level design, game development, live operation, testing, etc. With the myriads of SDKs like Ludo AI, Midjourney, Leonardo, Deep Motions, you can create I would say, a set of characters or any assets from hyper realistic to fantasy. So, and even the developers can swiftly create any prototype and enhance your decision making of your game to a next level. While certainly, I believe human touch is certainly required and it is irreplaceable, but AI significantly accelerates this development process. Shaders and post-processing. So today, from photorealistic rendering to dynamic lighting, from sophisticated physics to particle effects to ray tracing, these elements are introduced to add in a way like a cinematic quality to your games. And this will further set the pathway to build something like, the holodeck kind of an experience where you can simulate any environment or an experience just moving beyond the, a screen-based gaming. Gamification. So the entire concept of gamification, it stitches the dynamic of gaming into diverse non-gaming platforms. And that's across the industries, not just for an entertainment. It can be from education to banking, from heavy industries to healthcare to various industry sectors. So it turns your, from using that applied dynamics, right, of game concept, you can convert your routine tasks into compelling interactive challenges. So as we venture forward, gamification will not just enhance the user experience, but redefine the way we learn, adapt, operate, and connect. New revenue models. So today, beyond traditional purchases and subscriptions, so there is a notable surge in microtransaction, battle passes, NFTs, DeFi, player-driven economies. Now, these innovative models not only diversify monetization strategies, but also cater a broader audiences, ensuring that future of gaming is both in a way lucrative and inclusive. Esports. Now, for me, it's more than just a trend. It's a testament to gaming cultural impact, I would say, and transform the entire definition of sportsmanship in this digital age. So, with the rise of quantum computing, your ultra responsive server architecture, low latency networks, I'm sure it's going to offer your gamers even more seamless competitive experience. Blockchain and decentralized frameworks. Now, this stands out as a crucial technological pillars on a gaming landscape, by empowering powers with, especially for the players, so they can truly own their assets, control their in-game assets with more transparent and secure transaction, which fosters that trust within that gaming community. So overall put together, gaming is a massive industry. In fact, it's much bigger than movie and music combined together. Just to say, mobile gaming itself in next 3 years is expected to grow more than a $300 billion industries. So as we conclude, for me, our journey into the future of gaming, let's remain inspired by these endless possibilities ahead, driven by technologies and innovation. May our passion continue to shape this very dynamic industry, ensuring that the world of gaming remains evolving and captivating. So overall, that's it. I mean, thank you all. Thank you all for joining us, and have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for summing up how the gaming industry will take shape in the future. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the much awaited time of the day. Yes, you guessed it right. It's GameXX 2023 Awards. These awards would not have been possible without our very esteemed jury who have helped us in picking up the winners. Thank you so much, jury. So without any further ado, let's begin with the GameX Awards. Audience, you can keep cheering the winners by commenting emojis in the chat box or sharing this on social media websites using GameX Awards 2023. The first award in the category Best Analytics Data Tool, the gold winner is Xerxes by Zapads. The award for Best Campaign in AR/VR, the gold winner for this category is Unilever, nominated by Anymind Pocket for the campaign Walls Feast Pop. Congratulations. The award for Best Campaign Strategy, the gold winner is Relispray, nominated by Pivot Roots, a Havas company, for the campaign Revive with Relispray. The award for Best Cross Platform Campaign, the gold winner is Paytm nominated by M Canvas for the campaign Paytm India versus West Indies 2022. Congratulations. The award for Best Esports Event, and the winner is Jagran Play nominated by Jagran New Media for the campaign Jagran Play Esports Tournament Season 1. Make your own move. The award for Best Execution of Performance Campaign. The winner is A23 nominated by Zapads Media for the campaign A23 Chalo Saath Khele CPI campaign featuring Shah Rukh Khan via Zapads Media. The award for Best Game Experience in VR and AR. The winner is Unilever nominated by Any Mind Pocket for the campaign Walls Feast Pop AR Mouth Detection Game. The award for Best Gaming as a Service in Tech. The winner is Jagran Play nominated by Jagran New Media for the campaign Concreto Uno Challenge. Audience, keep cheering our winners using emojis and hashtag GAMEXX 2023. The award for Best Innovative Campaign, the winner is Unilever Indonesia, nominated by Any Mind Pocket for the campaign Unilever EUDG. The award for Best Integrated Marketing Campaign, Consoles and Games. The winner is Pass Pass Pulse, nominated by DS Group for the campaign Grab the Pulse. The award for Best Ongoing Content, the winner is Chroma, nominated by Any Mind Pocket for the campaign Chroma, Always On, Playable Ads. The award for Best Online Esports Platform, and the winner is Jagran Play, nominated by Jagran New Media. Congratulations. The award for Best Storytelling Narrative, the winner is Thumbs Up Charge, nominated by Any Mind Pocket for the campaign Thumbs Up Charge Gamified Interactive Video. Congratulations. The award for Best Strategy Used for a Gaming Campaign, the winner is Poker Bazi, nominated by Bazi Games for campaign Shark Tank Poker Bazi. The award for Best Talent Management, the gold winner is 8-Bit Creatives, nominated by Artsmith Concepts and Visions. Congratulations. The award for Best Software Hardware for Innovation goes to Jagran Play, nominated by Jagran New Media. Audience, keep cheering our winners. The award for Best Use of Influencers Global, and the winner is Unilever Philippines Master, nominated by Any Mind Pocket for the campaign Master, hashtag Bring Your Clay Game from Gaming to Grooming. The award for Best Use of Social Media, the gold winner is Relispray, nominated by Pivot Root, a Harvest company for the campaign Revive with Relispray. The award for Mobile Advertising Excellence in Mobile Games, the gold winner is A23, nominated by Zapads Media for campaign A23 Chalo Saath Khele CPI campaign featuring Shah Rukh Khan via Zapads Media. The award for Product Launch and Innovation category, the gold winner is Realme, nominated by M Canvas for the campaign Realme 10 Pro. Congratulations. The award for Product Launch and Innovation category, the gold winner is Unilever Indonesia Walls, nominated by Any Mind Pocket for campaign Walls Feast Pop AR Mouth Detection Game. The award for Best Real Money Gaming, the gold winner is Fun 88 nominated by Dangle Ads Technology for the campaign Fun 88 via Dangle Ads Technologies. Congratulations. And the award for Best Casual Games goes to Viacom 18 nominated by Ecultify Advertising for Nickelodeon India. The award for Best Strategy Games, and the winner is J Battle Arena nominated by Jugo Studios. The award for Best Casino Games, and the winner is Fun 88 nominated by Dangle Ads Technologies for the campaign Fun 88 via Dangle Ads Technologies. Congratulations. The award for Best Use of Influencers goes to Revive with Relispray nominated by Pivot Roots, a Harris company for the campaign Revive with Relispray. The award for Content Creator of the Year Game goes to Tanmay Singh, a Scout nominated by 8-Bit Creatives. Congratulations, Tanmay. And the award for Emerging Esports Entrepreneur, the gold winner is Animesh Agarwal, founder and CEO of 8-Bit Creatives and the co-owner of S8UL. Congratulations, Animesh. That was all with the awards, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to all the winners. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of the third edition of GameX, that is GameX Summit and Awards 2023. I would like to take a moment and thank each and every one of you who have helped us in making this event possible and successful. Thank you to all our sponsors, growth partner Mob Avenue, gaming partner Jugo Studios, and our industry partner AIGF. Thank you, speakers, juries, and last but not the least, our lovely audience. Thank you so much. Stay tuned on our website, www.adgali.com, for further information. Thank you.